new news feeds, 500 television channels. Like, oh, drat. Like, what? Did you find something? Did you have some big expose you wanted to roll out on us?
No.
Oh. Well, let's listen to how the BBC categorizes. This is a great time for media deconstruction.
Well, and there's a couple of things I've come up with, at least 3 or 4 insights as part of the standard, let's ban guns litany.
Yeah. Well, here's the first. Here's the first. This is being played this morning on CNN. I saw it on MSNBC. It's out on the webs. And it's, I believe it's intended to shame us, which, as you know, I'm not a fan of shaming in any way. It is meant to shame us into, just shame us for being Americans, basically.
Right now on that stretcher, just another day in the United States of America. Another day of gunfire, panic, and fear. This time in the city of San Bernardino in California, where a civic building was apparently under attack.
So the news channels are playing this, going like, everyone thinks we're douchebags. We're horrible.
That's good. I like the way it says San Bernardino.
San Bernardino, yes. San Bernardino. Okay, so this is
just another day in the life of America.
Before we get started,
come visit.
There's a couple of things that really bother me. So we had 2 shootings, really. Well, there's probably more, but we had 2 that made the news. Just before the San Bernardino, we had the Colorado Springs. Was it Colorado Springs?
Yeah.
Yeah, Colorado Springs shooting near Planned Parenthood. What I find interesting is that quite quickly, and I'm sure we'll get to it later on, in fact, we have to, that quite quickly was saddled up as, well, obviously this guy is a nut job who's been inspired by the rhetoric from Republican candidates, and he's gone nuts. And he just went wacky over it. And we know that for sure because we heard some unnamed source claim that a law enforcement officer heard the guy mutter something under his breath like
this is
baby
never been
parts.
Confirmed. But everyone accepts it as true.
It has never been confirmed. But when it comes to the San Bernardino shooting, there's a lot of apprehension to say, well, let me think about this. It seems like the guys, or the guy, the lady, whoever was involved, it seems like they might be terrorists if you look at all the evidence, if you look at all the pieces put together. But they're not saying it. No one will come out and say, oh, this is obviously terrorism.
No, of course it's not terrorism. It's about gun control. This isn't. The reason this happened is because guns are too easily available.
Well, I'm just going to stay on this tip for a second. Why is it that... Okay, I'll give you my quick summary of what I think might have happened, and then I've got to work backwards, and I want to hear your deconstruction, what you have going. This probably was some form of radicalized cell. Whoever radicalizes them, whatever they're from, is unimportant. I think what may have happened is there was an operation planned, and then this guy went to his office party, and he got into some kind of fight, and he went back home and said, let's go kick these motherfuckers' ass now. I'm sick and tired of these jabronis. And it was a terrorist setup, and I based that on a strange press conference by the brother-in-law of this dude, Saeed Farouk, which was staged by CARE.
Yeah, our buddies in CARE.
Yeah, the Council on American Islamic Relations. Here is his speech.
I'm really here on behalf of my family for the victims. It's unbelievable what happened. I am very sad, deeply sad and shocked that something like this happened here in my community. I love this country. I'm living in this community for a long time, and something like this happened here. And on behalf of my family, we all are shocked and very sorry for what happened. We all are just completely shocked. We have no idea that something this could happen.
Shocked, I say.
And that's exactly why I'm here, to, tell all of you on behalf of my family that how sad we are. How sad we are that somebody lost husband and wife.
Yeah, and he goes on and on and on. So just CARE staging that is a red flag for me.
Yes.
And then I love this. And
by the way, I want to back you up a little bit because the concept that these guys were in a cell ready to do some damage at some point, and then they just decided to go off script.
Well, the president actually categorizes it differently. Did you hear? No, you probably didn't. Finish your thought on the script.
Well, I was just going to say they went off script, and that's why CARE had to jump in and do all kinds of damage control.
Right.
This was the damage control press release.
Here's the press conference. Here's the president.
With fantasies of glory, who are very savvy when it comes to social media, and are able to infiltrate the minds of not just Iraqis or Syrians, but disaffected individuals around the world. And when they activate those individuals can do a lot of damage.
What is this, Manchurian Candidate time?
When was this? Because that wasn't recent.
No, this was about a week ago.
Because if you want to hear what he has to say about this,
I'd love to.
It's slightly a different story. I have a clip.
I think this is very good. By the way.
Yes, by the way.
There are already complaints in the chat room saying we were all in on Sandy Hook being a fake, but now we're all in on everything being real. No. I would say we're just deconstructing what we have.
Yeah, we're just telling it like it is. We don't have any bone to pick or dog in the hunt.
No.
Now, this is this morning. So that's how much work I do.
Well, you did prep.
Because I got this clip this morning.
Okay.
Because I knew from the CBS reports last night that Norah O'Donnell was scheduled to have a meeting and do an interview with Obama.
Oh, okay.
While the shooting was in progress.
Nora works for what outfit?
She is at the morning show with Charlie Rose. Nora is the good-looking woman.
Yeah. She's
hasn't got a lot to say.
No, but she's good-looking.
She is. She's very pretty. I think she's the prettiest of the group.
Yeah.
And so she's in there with Obama. Here's the intro into it, and this is all it's about.
Will describe what he sees as America's biggest challenges.
Congress is under new pressure to act to prevent mass shootings. Before traveling to California, Norah spoke to President Obama at the White House. The president said there are things that can be done to stop these attacks.
We have a pattern now of mass shootings in this country that has no parallel anywhere else in the world. And there's some steps we could take, not to...
What happened to Paris?
To eliminate every one of these mass shootings, but to improve the odds that they don't happen as frequently. Common sense gun safety laws, stronger background checks. And for those who are concerned about terrorism, some may be aware of the fact that we have a no-fly list where people can't get on planes, but those same people who we don't allow to fly could go into a store right now in the United States and buy a firearm, and there's nothing that we can do to stop them. That's a law that needs to be changed.
Well, as this show goes on, I'll play some clips from this particular little episode that happened this morning. Charlie Rose all in on what the president says, and they bring Paul Ryan on.
Before you move on, John, what he said there is interesting for a different reason. A producer sent me. Oh, I'm looking for it. Apparently, a law was either just introduced or passed in the House. I'm going to look for it, and it will somehow link, if you have a concealed carry permit and you are pre-check or clear or any of these other items, that will be now annotated on your pre-check information, which of course is probably illegal because it's tracking its database.
Saying, as this episode continued, the two of them, Gail, Oprah's friend, and Charlie Rose jumped all over Paul Ryan about these topics, and Charlie comes. Actually, I don't want to get into this right now, but since I mentioned,
would you like me to do an entremont? If you don't want to get into it,
I just want to say a couple of things.
Okay,
just to get my side of this thing.
Of course,
the one thing to note was Obama's concept. Besides this bull crap about the no-fly zone thing, which is an illegal list, as Ryan points out.
No-fly list.
The no-fly list, sorry, is Obama's mention of frequency.
Yes.
I believe that this was the note that The 6-week cycle is long over. That didn't produce the results intended. We are going to do one of these things once a week, once every 2 weeks, until people get a clue.
Yeah, increasing the frequency.
I am going to pass gun laws of some sort while I am president.
Yeah,
Because the emphasis over and over again when Obama spoke and then throughout all these other presentations was about frequency.
Yeah.
And in fact, even when Gail comes up, she brings out this frequency issue. The frequency issue is the main thing they're promoting right now, and they're going to prove it to us by creating frequency.
Okay, do you have a clip?
Well, I guess I have to go back to these clips again. Let's start with the unanswered Charlie Rose question. Let me get these clips out of the way.
Okay.
Let's see. What do we have? Charlie Rose.
Charlie 1 gearing up.
Charlie 1 gearing up. Now this is Charlie. This is just Charlie. I didn't leave Paul Ryan stuff in because I'll answer the Paul Ryan question because it took him 2 minutes. But Charlie, you have to listen to the very beginning.
Did you miss the Gail and Paul Ryan clip? Do we need to play that first?
No, that comes after this.
Okay, all right. Gotcha.
This is the first thing that happened, and then I knew the battle was on. I said, "Oh, maybe I should just push the show off half an hour and listen to this crap." But Charlie gears up, and he's building up a head of steam, and he starts off by girding his loins, and you can hear it at the very beginning.
Wait, what is the definition of girding your loins?
It's just a phrase.
Okay.
But he's getting geared up, and you could hear at the beginning where he's
oh boy, yeah.
And he gets himself ready, and you can hear it in this clip of him getting himself ready, and then he goes right after Ryan because he's a lousy Republican.
House Speaker Paul Ryan is with us now from Capitol Hill. Mr. Speaker, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie. How are you this morning? Again.
Good.
Oh.
House Speaker Paul Ryan is with us now from Capitol Hill. Mr. Speaker, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie. How are you this morning?
Good.
That was a slur.
Well, the community is grieving, as you know, and a nation is asking questions about why and how do we stop this. And we want to hear from you on that. But why don't you, after you make your speech today, call the president and say, I'm going to come down Pennsylvania Avenue. Let's you and I start off and do something about this right now. I'm the Speaker of the House. You're president. You're in your fourth quarter, and I'm in the beginning of my job as Speaker.
What a loaded question.
Yeah.
His answer was, we don't even really know what happened. Can we wait till the damn investigation's over?
So we have the bodies out of the building. The bodies were still in the building last night at midnight when I was watching.
Well, that's one report.
That was the police chief at 10 past midnight my time, so 10:10 everybody, in San Bernardino. We got 80 degrees. That's when he said. He said, we have not even gotten the bodies out yet. That's what he said.
Well, that's kind of...
I know.
I didn't get that one. But
well, you know what's going to happen next, John? I guarantee you within 1 year, this facility has burned to the ground. That's right. They're going to destroy it, demolish it, just like Sandy Hook.
Well, where the bodies are is another issue. Because some of them were taken to one hospital, some taken to another. I have some clips on that. And there was triage set up, and then if the bodies are still in the building, why didn't they keep the triage there and they tore it down?
Because it's a hoax, man. False flag.
Yeah, well, that's another problem. The hoax, the guys are out there that they're pulling out small, minute details and calling everything a hoax and a false flag.
Yeah, it's not
helping.
No.
Anyway, so let's go on. Charlie 2. And so Charlie's still worked up. He had that big snort at the beginning. He's ready to go. So Ryan answers with a very calm answer and because he knows he's in for it. So here's Charlie 2 then Brian actually responds to this.
The mental health issue, which we know is a common theme among these shootings, and that's something we're working on right now.
I suspect a lot of people would agree with you on that, and most people would agree with you on that. But here's what the president said, and the reason I suggested there might be a conversation between you and the president. He said, we have a no-fly list where people can't get on planes, but these same people whom we did not allow to fly could get into a store right now in the United States and buy a firearm, and there's nothing we can do to stop them.
Well, on this particular issue, we do have a constitution. Citizens have a due process rights, and anyone can just be arbitrarily placed upon the no-fly list. In fact, that's happened quite a bit. People have been placed on the no-fly list mistakenly, innocently. So we need to respect due process. So when we rush to act on these things, let's make sure that we act accordingly. Let's make sure that we act according to citizens' rights, the Constitution. Oh, and let's make sure that what we do actually solves these problems. So that is why I think we need to take a pause and see what's happening. This is why we're working on mental health already.
All right, so he's got this mental health thing he sticks to.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that Charlie said, get on plane. Is this European thing sneaking in, like go to hospital?
Yeah, I think so.
He's in hospital.
It's the BBC. That's their influence. Everybody wants to be like the BBC because they're so great.
Get on plane.
Get on plane. Get on.
So Gail, so they start to get into the beef, and here's Gail going off on him because she is like shaking it. She's like nervous. She's worried sick that someone's going to rush into the studio and shoot her.
What is it going to take to move the needle in Congress, I guess, is a frustration.
Gail, that's what I'm just trying to say, Gail. What we're trying to do is find out the facts and make sure that what our response is actually addresses the problems without infringing upon the rights of law-abiding citizens. That's the key here, Gail.
But it keeps happening. It keeps happening.
And how long? But we also have citizens who have rights to be protected. And again, Gail, one of the common themes here, this is why we're really serious about our mental health legislation.
Yes.
Because a lot of these people are getting guns who are mentally unstable, who should not be getting guns. And this is a gap in our laws that we feel needs to be filled. Look, if you're not outraged when you turn on the TV and see these shootings, there's something wrong with you. And so we just want to get it right, Gail. And we want to make sure that we don't violate a person's rights if they're a law-abiding citizen.
But can I just say this to you? A mass shooting is described as 4 or more victims.
Right.
According to shootingtracker.com, just the fact that we have a shootingtracker.com, I think, speaks volumes. Mm-hmm. Since January, there have been at least 354 mass shootings in this country. You must be frustrated as well.
Yeah, I am, Gail. That's why, again, I don't want to keep saying the same thing over and over.
Yeah, but
one of the things we've noticed, there are mental health issues here.
Hey, John, let me ask you a question, because it's okay when there's comparison between statistics, per so many people in the United States, X amount are killed by gunfire. But when you say the frequency is higher, isn't that directly proportionate to how many people there are? Shouldn't you say the frequency by percentage? Is this just now a creepy numbers game that's being played?
It's a creepy numbers game that's being played.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Because the idea here is for Obama to get this gun legislation through by hook or crook. And the way that you had an entremont, I want you to play it because there's another issue besides this obvious. What they're going to do is step up the frequency of these events.
Well, I'll do 3 quickies. So you had Gail freaking out. Matt Lauer was doing a pretty good job over there on the Today Show.
Turn now to NBC's Justice correspondent Pete Williams. He's been talking to his law enforcement sources throughout the night. And Pete, what are you hearing?
Well, they say that they still don't know what led Saeed Farook and his wife to carry out such a brutal and deadly attack, Matt. Authorities say it was clearly well planned. Not only were the two heavily armed, they also had prepared and brought some homemade bombs. At least 3 of those devices have been found, though none of them apparently went off in the attack. Federal officials say a check of Customs and Border Protection records shows that Farook recently traveled to Saudi Arabia, but authorities believe at this point that trip was a religious one, the Hajj, or the pilgrimage that devout Muslims are required to make at one point during their lives. But as for the motive, investigators say they'll look through the couple's computers and other electronic devices, looking for clues. They'll carefully examine Farook's employment records. They'll talk to his co-workers to see if that can shed any light. Authorities say some people who knew Farook told them his personality began to change 6 months ago. But this morning, investigators cannot say what this attack was. Was it a workplace dispute that spun so strangely out of control? Was it jihadist-inspired terrorism, or was it some combination of the two? Matt?
Yeah, but Pete, I've known you for years and years. You're one of the most careful journalists I've ever met.
Careful journalist. What does that even mean? Careful journalist.
You have to think that at this moment it's looking less and less like any kind of simple workplace dispute and more like the nightmare we've all been fearing. Someone blending into our society and carefully plotting out some kind of attack. The
certainly does. And that is why I think that there is so much puzzled by trying to find an explanation. They can't interview the people who were involved in the shooting. Both of the gunmen are dead, the man and the woman.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Trigger warning, I have a problem. It is gun persons. I can't hear gunmen. If there's a woman involved, it's gun persons. I'm sorry, trigger warning.
So now they have to see if there's some other indication. Did they leave some message on social media? Is there something in their computers? No one that they've talked to yet can give an explanation.
I also think manhunt is wrong. That should be a person hunt. Very disturbed by these things.
Oh, yeah, I bet you are.
Over on CNN, they were so out of ideas, they brought in...
CNN was great.
Casey Jordan, who is a criminologist. But she seems more like a gypsy fortune teller.
Disgruntled employee. They can have Arabic or Middle Eastern names as well. Ooh. But the key is that from the beginning, everything that was reported about him going into this conference room, where it was a holiday party, which may have been offensive to him.
It may have been offensive to him. Oh, trigger warning. Please, before celebrating a holiday, which might have, I don't know, some religious undertones, then you should have a disclaimer. So please, if you're jihadi, don't get all upset about this.
Bottom line is the motivation always appeared to be intrinsic, not extrinsic. Still,
intrinsic. What is extrinsic? From the outside?
Yes.
He was prepared for this. He didn't. It's almost like he was looking for an excuse to go get the guns, get the female getaway driver, put on his fatigues and let it look like terrorism. So I'm in total agreement.
What?
That terrorism,
let it look like terrorism.
And disgruntled employee can be a mashup. This can be an amalgam of both.
It's a mashup.
But I really do think his motive.
It's a terror mashup, everybody.
It can be an amalgam of both.
Mashup, but that was a dead term.
No, it's back. It's the terror. Let's see if she gives it a full time. I think terror mashup.
That terrorism and disgruntled employee can be a mashup. This can be an amalgam of both.
An amalgam of both. It's a mashup. Mashup.
But I really do think his motive was very intrinsic. It was personal. It was about a grudge. And it looks like terrorism, and he might like that, but it isn't what it was about.
Oh, no. It wasn't what it was about. Let's go back to Matt Lauer and get fear put into us.
I was just talking to Pete Williams in Washington, our justice correspondent. Are you waking up today to the fear that there may have been a cell, albeit a small cell, living in plain sight in your community?
Again, Matt, this is an active investigation. We're leaving that up to the law enforcement to make sure that they conduct it. When we find out more information from them, they will be releasing that information.
It's an active investigation of what? The people are dead.
It's always
you can say what you want. Well, we don't want to ruin the case. We don't want the jury to be turned. And by the way, I want to mention something before I forget, because I've been wanting to say this for a while. People always wonder why, they get these two guys who've been great to capture them.
Yeah, why kill them?
Well, I was thinking about it.
And it's not guys. Trigger warning. People. It's people.
Well, guys is actually, women refer to women as guys, too.
Good try.
No, it's good try, sexist pig.
Don't make me occupy your studio, man. You hurt my feelings as a guy.
The cops over time have decided, and I think this is the same reason we use drone strikes, too, instead of picking people up.
Right.
Just kill them.
Kill them.
Because if you injure them, or if you like wing them, why don't they shoot them in the legs? That'll stop them. No. You're a cop. You shoot somebody in the leg because he's coming at you with a knife, and you don't want to kill him, so you shoot him in the leg. He goes down. The ambulance takes him in. He sues you. Yeah. He sues you. He sues the city for being shot in the leg.
That's right.
You don't get sued by a dead man.
No, we must
bomb them, and bomb them again.
We need to kill them.
This is the problem with the judicial. If a guy is coming at you with a knife and you shoot him in the leg, and he brings a lawsuit for injury because you shot him in the leg, a judge, any normal judge in a normal system should just throw the case out. But no. A bunch of lawyers present a bunch of papers to a bunch of judges, many elected. They don't know anything about the law. Yeah. And they say, we'll go through that. I don't want to deal with this. We'll do a jury trial. The cops have gotten a clue because they get in too much trouble. So they shoot the guy, kill him. And by the way, they also have a rationale. They say, think of the millions and millions of dollars in taxpayer
It'll
money
say, just kill him.
would have been wasted on this trial.
I always have to admire the optics of something like this. Black SUV, military grade weaponry, fatigues, bulletproof vest, body armor, all the things that are being said.
Yeah.
Who does that? Blackwater, feds, not jihadists, but okay, fine. And of course, as always, we're looking for one thing when something like this happens, and the reports came out very quickly.
Details of that, but again, we can tell you that the president has been briefed on what is a mass casualty and mass shooter situation happening now in San Bernardino, California. The police were able to move in very quickly, according to local media reports.
Are you using a microphone to record this?
This was caught by someone. This was not.
Oh,
yeah. I'm so sorry for the quality. Can you understand it? Can you see that, Juice?
Barely, but yes.
California. The police were able to move in very quickly. According to local media reports, part of the reason for that is very nearby there was a police training exercise which was underway. So this call for help goes out immediately, and very quickly a large number of first responders were on scene.
Coincidence? I think not.
Well, sure, many people who were there today say they thought this was just some kind of routine training deal when they saw all these police coming into the building. And there did happen to be a training exercise close to the area, a SWAT team training exercise, we're told. And that's why so many of these officers were able to make it to the scene so quickly. However,
that's great. That's just great whenever that helps.
Once you're going to use those clips, I want you to play this one.
Okay.
This is the woman who stayed at home discussing the cameras and the drills on CNN, and then I have a comment after this.
Detectors, anything like that?
No metal detectors.
Do you have any I understand that there were alarms going off and that there were drills. I was hearing from a father whose daughter works in the building that you all have been going through drills. And I don't know if it was in a case like this or for something else, but is that the case?
We always do. They're very, very good about staying on top of, fire drills. We do have what we call active shooter training.
You do?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
When did that begin?
It started last year. And I do think that they were starting now, they're going through the rounds now with that training.
So active shooter training happening at your workplace, and here we have potentially 3 active shooters at lunchtime on what should have been a normal day. What about cameras in your building, Kristen? Do you have cameras throughout your workplace?
I don't know. There are people that think we have cameras. There are people that say that there aren't cameras. I don't really know.
Okay.
Now, what I got a kick out of is the CNN woman. This is Brooke or whatever her name is.
Yeah, Brooke.
She says, you've had active shooter training. It's not as though this is like a scam. It's, that's so great. Then you would be prepared when these 3 guys showed up.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love their take on it. You have a no agenda take on everything, which indicates skepticism.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can have this all-in hook in the mouth being dragged to the shore by a fisherman.
But, Brooke is cute.
She never showed her face once in the whole thing.
Okay. Well, I'm very, very familiar with Brooke. She's cute.
So we're going to be on this. Let's stay with CNN and the boom guy and CNN lifting coverage. This is a good one.
Community have left in a black SUV.
What are you doing on my beat, Dvorak? CNN's my beat, man. What you doing?
You were doing other stuff.
Okay.
Also, according to sources, they were using long rifles. Here's more sound.
Long rifle. The center. And I was just walking down, and this lady and a couple others heard shots that I heard from over there. But then I started walking, and all of a sudden I got into chaos. And who knows? It just boom, 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 boom. And then, I'm just right in the middle.
I was right behind
and she was right here behind the building. And so we're waiting for the bus. That's how I transfer, because I have a brain disorder, so I can't drive. So yeah, it's kind of scary.
Paul, can you plug your phone number into my phone?
Hold on for 1 second.
Yeah.
My daughter's in there.
Yeah.
Your daughter's in there?
Plug into my phone.
Okay.
Listen to this groovy Madonna track.
All right.
It's okay. It's just shots and hey, you don't know where they come from.
Okay, we're gonna. Okay, hold on for 1 second. We're gonna interview.
Okay, so local reporters, we're dipping in and out of their coverage. I just want to be totally transparent.
Stealing
with you.
their material. And meanwhile, that guy with the brain damage, he keeps showing up on different reports.
Yeah, it's great.
So here's the one that really got this. I thought was one of the best ones. This is Dad Best Local Report. This is another local report, different one.
Now this is the guy with the Freemasons cap on.
No, I love that guy, but I didn't get a clip from him.
No, he was. Oh, he's the one that was texting his son who was inside.
Well, right. And the reason I didn't get a clip because they had him on the mic, and it was like
he was boring. He was boring, but the hat was fantastic.
The hat was dynamite.
And on the subreddit, the Freemason subreddit, there was a posting like, looks like I think his name is Lucas or something. Like Brother Lucas has been has showing himself in sad circumstances or something like that. It's like, but. Of all things to put on television, of all things, in fact, I've never even seen one of those Freemasons hats. I want one. That's a dynamite hat. I want one of those. That's great. All right.
So here's Dad.
Writing in there?
This is my favorite.
Yeah.
What'd she say to you? She sent you some text?
She did.
What did she say?
She said,
what are you recording this with a microphone?
Shooting at my work, people shot. In the office waiting for cops.
But she's okay.
Pray for us.
Are you just making fun, John? Are you just making fun of these people?
No, this is an important clip. Is this Dad Best Local Report ONR?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the wrong one.
Yeah, okay.
Well, hey, it says dad, daughter text, pray for us.
No, I went Dad Best.
Inside the building. I talked to the police. There are casualties.
What'd your daughter tell you?
She told me that they were, she thought it was a drill because they've been practicing drills. They went outside. They were told to go back in. Shuttled into a room. Police showed up. They were taken outside. Thank God there weren't more casualties.
Did she text or call?
She did. She's outside with the fire department right now.
Okay. Did she text you earlier?
She just texted me right now.
Okay.
And what did she tell you about what she saw and what she heard?
Well, she wasn't too clear. She's shaken up. And I did ask the police lady, and she said that there were some casualties.
What did she see?
I haven't talked to her about that. She's pretty shaken up.
All right.
Now you already played which should have been the kicker to this, which is the Dad Daughter Pray for Me.
I apologize.
While ridiculing the sound quality, which was right from the stream. What I'm trying to point out here is that this is all Dad-Daughter. There was lots of Dad-Daughter. It was my daughter's in there. My daughter's in there. One of the clips is my daughter was in there, and this guy over here, my buddy, his daughter's in there. This is part of the scheme to scare the bejeebers out of people about gun control, but they've given up. They've already gotten the women on their side. Women are already frightened. They're frightened to death. So let's scare the dads who have daughters. The daughters are there. They pray. And by the way, that guy with the Pray for One clip, Pray for Us clip, there were numerous people that said that read their text that said pray for us.
Yes.
Why was how many people are texting and there's all shit going on and you're writing pray for us?
In fact, the dad with the son, which was an anomaly, the guy with the Mason's hat, he even showed his text that said pray for us. So he said it too.
Yes.
And it's interesting you bring that up because I just read somewhere, I think it might have been but it was, I don't know if it was a Republican candidate. Someone was talking about Mitt Romney, and I'm not sure who it was. Maybe it was Fiorina. Someone said the reason why Romney had no chance is because he doesn't have any daughters. And that just stuck in my mind. And then I'm thinking, oh, that's interesting. And now you bring this up, how the daughter meme is being used. Very interesting.
The daughter means being used to an extreme. And then there was this. And this is the CNN "My loved one is safe" clip. Nobody says this. The guy's about to say his daughter, but he amps it up a notch as though it was rehearsed.
Disabilities. Like they coordinate bus rides and things.
Yes,
they coordinate bus rides and disability, people with disabilities.
Yeah, and from what you know,
my loved one is safe, and they need to do something. This is crazy. There's just too many shootings, too much bad stuff going on here. I mean, you hear about it, but
too much bad stuff. These shootings are happening far too often. What seems to make this different than some of the other shootings we've been covering is the fact that there are three, according to police, 3 different shooters or suspects.
Yeah, I'll hook right into that. Another interesting little tidbit was last night, this thing that I saw a little after midnight my time. The police chief, not once but twice, read the names of the 2 deceased apparent actors and spelled their names. This is highly unusual. This is not something I've seen during a police press conference. It usually comes, it's either leaked out or it comes much later when there is official word, and he spelled them out. And this girlfriend, this woman, seems to be a ghost. There's Steck, who has access to all kinds of databases, could not find her in any database. So that's troubling. And there's something else that's new in this round. And it started a little bit with the apparent Planned Parenthood shooting. I don't understand why this hasn't been going on for far longer. We're now playing Scanner. We're playing the police radio. And this baffles me.
Shep did this.
Yes. Well, everyone was doing it. And it baffles me. So last night, again, I'm hearing things from the Scanner. So I tuned in. Yeah, well, I tuned into the San Bernardino. There were a couple of different. It's all streamed. Although it's also baffling that if you're going after terrorists and you're just broadcasting that on open, unencrypted analog police channels
that you can listen to in Austin.
Yeah, I mean, and they were giving positions there. In fact, and it was so nutty. So this is a new version of how they're going to be doing these types of operations. And you cannot tell me that this is normal, that you have this type of situation where it could be terrorism or active shooter or whatever you want to call it, and you're just broadcasting a manhunt. You're broadcasting it in the clear, where you are, what you're doing. So at 8 o'clock, I'm watching CNN, and I'm hearing on the Scanner, we have an IED, we found an IED, we're moving back 50 yards. That didn't show up on CNN until midnight.
Huh.
So there's something very strange, but the reporting and adding in police radio with, which of course is not proof of anything. It's just a sound file. Who the hell knows what's going on or where it's coming from or what's being said? But it is a new part of the reporting. So we can get that extra fear element and something else. Oh, and then I heard, and I couldn't record it actually, but then I heard, we're going to make way for the DOD guys. Like, really? DOD? Now, I don't know if DOD means something different in San Bernardino.
Local.
Could be local, but if you listen to the news reports, everybody's stumbling over the same obvious thing.
Ambulance, fire trucks.
Yeah, this is recorded with a microphone, by the way.
And you can see some of the unmarked cars that are going through. They've shut it off, obviously, for anybody like us or our locals who are moving out of the way to let people by. In fact, as we turn the corner here, but you can see a massive police presence here.
Oops, massive military presence is what he wanted to say, but he said police presence. Okay.
And as you can see, they have boxed them in with large tactical units, similar to the Bearcat that was used in Colorado Springs, heavily armored vehicles with gunmen at various positions, safe positions around those vehicles, and now a tactical unit is making an approach with multiple soldiers, I shouldn't say soldiers, multiple police officers.
No, it's okay. You can say soldiers because that's what they look like. So this is almost now being accepted.
That reminds me of a clip. I don't think I took it. Let me see if I have it. But there was a kid. This was I got this off online.
It could have been a kid. It could have been BOD or something like bomb ordnance disposal. That's probably what it was. But still, you're hearing the news reports talking about military. Soldiers. Yeah, but you cannot deny that's what it looks like.
There was anyway, I'll give you the clip. A kid with his sunglasses on, sitting on his hood in a traffic jam at the point where they shot at the area where they shot up the Ford Explorer was what it looked like.
Denali. A Denali.
That wasn't a Denali.
It was a Yukon.
No, it wasn't. That's what they kept reporting. But if you look at it, it wasn't a Yukon. Yukons are huge. Whatever it was, they shot it up. And this kid's sitting there. He says, they told us we had to turn around. He says, so who told you to turn around? He says, that detective. And he pointed at someone. They never turned the camera on him. And the reporter goes, that's a detective? and I wondered, what show us this guy? I mean, was he in a military uniform? Was he in plain clothes? Was he in jogging uniform? I have no idea. Huh. But the way the guy responded was just like, wow, that's kind of interesting. Huh. I want to stick with just a couple more clips since I collect them, more of this daughter emphasis. Mm-hmm. Here's another one. This is another daughter who saw nothing. This is the clip. Another daughter saw nothing.
That someone had come in and started shooting, and they ran into an office, and she's hiding with some other people. And our friend's daughter's in there too, and she texted, so they're both hiding.
That's all I know.
That's all I know.
Is she still hearing gunshots?
She didn't say anything about gunshots, but someone, I think, must have told her, because she never said she heard gunshots, but somehow she knew that she said 10 to 20 people were shot.
Yeah. She didn't hear anything, didn't see anything.
But it's 10 to 20.
Scared to death.
Yeah.
They also had a number. I have one clip, but don't think it's necessary to play it, of the dads with their daughters, again, dad and daughter, and the dad is in tears. I'm telling you, was outrageous propaganda. Dad's in tears because, I'm so glad my daughter is safe. And I'm thinking, well, is there nobody, but it sounds like the place is filled with young women. Sounds like a great place to work.
Well, I like your analysis that we're now going to focus on frequency. And of course, that is a bogative number, unless presented in the context of scale and percentages. And that is and that's really the thing to focus on in general with these events, is not whether it was a false flag or not. And I have to say, this has Sandy Hook hallmark all over it.
It has a lot of Sandy Hook elements, and I have two clips to kind of indicate that.
Okay.
Try this one. This is the 2 hospital lot. Now, here's the thing. There were 7. They're always the same numbers, which is really unusual. 14 and 17. 14 and 17. 14 killed, 17
wounded,
injured. Mm-hmm. Where are these people? Now, everyone kept saying that there's the Loma Linda Hospital nearby, and it turns out there was another little hospital, and that hospital took 5 people. Loma Linda, according to all reports, took 4. And let me see if I think I have 2 clips. One of them talks about the woman who is at the hospital discussing.
I have I have 2 hospital lockdown. What else? A late report on Loma Linda.
Yeah, Loma Linda. Play that one first.
The thing that we learned at that news conference here is we got an update on exactly the number of victims that they took in here at the hospital. They took in 5 adult victims, and at this point, 2 of them are in critical but stable condition, and 2 are in fair condition. Also, 1 is still being assessed. Now, they have set up an area for, obviously, the ambulances to come in. They've taken down some of the tents that were there earlier, but they've also set up a room for families to come here and to wait and to hear about their loved ones that are in this hospital. And right now, everyone in this community is wondering how something like this could happen at a place that takes care of so many people in need.
Yeah, they love that, yes. Leverage that. Now, so here's an eyewitness. This guy was in a car wreck, and he was at the Loma Linda Hospital. I don't know what happened to the other 12 people, by the way. The other hospital seems to have 3 or 4 people. So there's a bunch of missing, injured people they can't account for. And they never, when they had the triage set up, they never brought anybody out. In fact, I have one clip.
Just like Sandy Hook.
It's looking a little like that, especially when you hear this one. This is the 2 hospital lockdown. and curtains clip.
At Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, police were in riot gear as a lockdown was in place, and victims' family members were forced to wait outside.
You never know what's going to happen.
At Loma Linda University Medical Center, this man says he was left alone in the emergency room after a car crash Wednesday morning, while nurses scrambled to work on the flood of people injured in the shooting.
The people that were more seriously injured were pretty much kept in the shadows. Pretty much, they had curtains covering them. That way, no one could see them.
They had curtains covering so no one could see them. And there was, according to the other report, there's only 4.
Maybe there's nothing to see.
Well, getting very screwy.
Well, this whole business of they left the bodies in there. No one's been identified except the 2 who were killed, and then their names were spelled out verbatim. Yet
even the bodies in there is I think a script error.
Yeah, that's why they have to rubbleize the place. Guaranteed, this place is rubbleized within a year. Then we'll know. Well,
here, let's play this one. I got too many clips. I got to play some of them.
Yeah, I'd love to get in here whenever you're ready.
Okay, well, let me just do this one because this will be a good entremont.
Okay.
So they bring in. This is always suspicious. You're watching Fox, and they bring in Herridge.
Oh, Catherine Herridge, the pixie girl?
Spy.
Yeah, the spy. All right. Okay. Now you have my attention.
Well, player.
Let me see. Where is she?
Herridge and tidbits.
Yeah.
A couple of tidbits.
Gotcha. Very much involved with this, and our Catherine Herridge works intelligence for us live in Washington.
No kidding.
Catherine, anything to add?
Yo. What's that electronic sound? Did you hear that?
Yeah. The connection was bad. Listen.
That sounded like they were juicing up her brain or something. No, seriously. Listen to it again. It sounds like they're juicing up her brain, getting her ready.
Very much involved with this, and our Catherine Herridge works intelligence for us live in Washington. Catherine, anything to add?
They're tasing her, John.
Or she was with us. Catherine Herridge.
I'm back. Sorry.
Sorry. Please go ahead.
Yep.
I got tased.
Okay, so look, Shepard, what we have here unfolding in Washington, unfortunately, is a carbon copy of what we saw with this Colorado shooting. The president has been briefed by his White House counterterrorism advisor, Lisa Monaco. That is standard practice.
Hold on a second. She said this is a carbon copy of the Colorado?
I listened to this a couple of times, and I thought what you're thinking. But what she's really saying...
Well, do we want to have her say it, or do you want to preview it?
Well, I'm going to give you the insight so people don't get mixed up. What she was referring to is a carbon copy of the reaction in Washington. A series of steps that were taken, identical to the other one, which, of course... If we're thinking along the same lines here, yes, it would be identical because this is part of the step up. But anyway, you can play it over.
Hey, John, so look.
Did I say look?
No, not you. No.
Very much involved with this, and our Catherine Herridge works intelligence for us live in Washington. Catherine, anything to add?
That's crazy.
Or she was with us. Catherine Herridge.
I'm back. Sorry.
Little tase.
Just on the phone. Okay, so look, Shepard, what we have here unfolding in Washington, unfortunately, is a carbon copy of what we saw with this Colorado shooting. The president has been briefed by his White House counterterrorism advisor, Lisa Monaco. That is standard practice, and he will continue to receive regular updates. Same pattern with the Homeland Security Secretary, Jay Johnson. He has been briefed by his law enforcement team on what's going on in California, and he too will be getting regular updates. The key point to watch here at this time is that the local police remain in the lead. The feds are in effect standing by to assist when that's necessary. The FBI has staged. That means that they are now sort of in the area with their heavy equipment if they're needed on the scene, and the ATF has a satellite office as well as a field office in Riverside and San Bernardino. So they are on the scene, but at this point they are not taking on a typical ATF role because this is clearly not contained. Just a final point, a DHS official said to me, based on a recent briefing, that there was no specific or credible threat to this area at the time. We don't know what this is at that point, but that's an important piece of information. And they also indicated that while the suspect or suspects fled the scene or were able to get away from the scene, they emphasized that this is an area that's very thick with cameras, and they were confident that there is an image of that SUV, Shepard.
thick with cameras. Now, this brings to light Eric DeShill's theory this was an NSA headquarters. Boy, just you get this from watching Alias too much. An NSA or some government intelligence operation posing as an some sort of other, with a front. It's a front. And she goes on with the cameras. I don't know how she'd know that. That one woman that, as you know, earlier was interviewed that we had the clip of, she said she didn't know of any cameras. There's other people that said, yeah, there's a lot of cameras. There's no cameras. Then there's no evidence there were cameras. There's a couple of doofuses that I have a clip of that make, again, like your doofus, that just start making stuff up as they go along. Yeah. But why don't you take some clips?
Well, since Johnson was brought up, did these guys travel to? Did he go to Saudi Arabia or Qatar? Qatar.
I don't know.
And the only reason I bring that up is because there was in the Doha News, there was a release about gifts given to Jed Johnson by Qatari officials, totaling $170,000, including what is it? It was 170 total. Jed Johnson's family was given some $44,000 in gifts, including a $15,700 Cartier platinum bracelet and a $6,600 Rolex watch. And the Qatari Attorney General Ali bin Fetais Al Mari also gave both Johnson's daughter and wife $3,200 gold Cartier necklaces, pendants engraved with their initials and the word love.
What?
Yeah.
You can't take this.
Well, let me see. I guess he did.
Well, this is a scandal.
Well, U.S. government officials are not allowed to keep most valuable gifts given to them on the job, but according to the disclosure, they accept some offerings to, quote, avoid embarrassment to the donor and the U.S. government.
There you go.
Don't want to embarrass everybody.
Have to take your bribe because they would embarrass you if
Don't want to embarrass anybody. Now, as you know, on the No Agenda show, we have no agenda. We are completely open, and I certainly am open to any theory, anything that needs to be followed, anything that needs to be followed up. And if you take the stance that this was some kind of an operation, and that the elites in the New World Order always leave clues for us. Of course, we've seen clues about 9/11 in The Matrix. You remember that, where the passport shows 9/11/2001.
Yeah,
it said Neo's passport. The Simpsons. There's all kinds of things. If we connect this particular event with Paris, it's very interesting, and I just want to bring it up. It's just want to put it out there because the lyrics are quite interesting. The band that was in the hall performing when the most people were killed there in Paris is the Eagles of Death Metal, and they have a song which is titled San Bernardino Sunburn. So they were in Paris, they got shot up, and now they have this single. So I'm going to forward ahead a little bit to another part of the song. Again, this is San Bernardino, and we're going to San Bernardino. We're headed out
to a girlfriend who was a swinger.
Yes, and we're headed to San Bernardino. Yes, okay, and then we'll hit Texas. Stop in Amarillo for a bite to eat. Then we'll stop over in Dallas. So I'm calling Amarillo, Texas, and Dallas, Texas, as the next targets.
Well, they're good targets. Amarillo, not so much.
Yeah, why not? Everyone knows Amarillo.
Yeah, I guess they do.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, if this is one of those little clues that they like to leave around for us, we got you, boys. We got you. Message received.
The memos will be flying after this show.
Message received. And I will say, I like those Eagles of Death Metal. That's a pretty good jam.
It's a little old-fashioned.
It's a very Norman Greenbaum type of song.
Yes,
Spirits in the Sky.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's a ripoff. It's a ripoff, I tell you.
Let's play. Well, actually, I got a couple more clips in this, and then we can move on if we want to.
Yeah, sure.
But I think we should maybe take a small welcoming break.
Well, in that case, I'd like to say thank you very much for your courage. And in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for Clips Recorder with my microphone, Dvorak.
And in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
In the morning to our artistes in particular, I'd like to say in the morning to Ponal Geek, who relatively new Ponal Geek to the No Agenda artiste family. He did.
Actually, we found he did a lot of stuff in the past.
Yeah, we haven't really used it, have we?
No.
I don't think we used it.
He's reminding me of Martin JJ.
Yeah.
Who worked for about a year and then all of a sudden became the rage. So maybe he's got to it's like the 3-point shooter where you start to get the range and start popping them in.
Well, he's definitely a dude named Ben. He brought us the artwork for episode 777. Then he did a nice little command line wink to the dude's name Ben with chmod 777 read, write, execute, no agenda. Perfect.
We had
very
people
nice.
I got a tweet, that best art ever.
Yeah, nerds would think so, which is why we liked it too. We're like, this is good. This is good.
Just as you said, we liked it too. It started raining.
As promised, as predicted.
There you go.
So thank you very much to Ponal Geek, all the artists who submit their artwork, their love to the best podcasting universe at noagendaartgenerator.com, and in the morning to the chat room. Hello, everybody there wasting their time.
John Claude Schmidt, we want to say hello to him because he's in Tustin, California, who gave 45678. Great number.
Excellent.
He says thank you. It says that you. Thank you for all that you do. I haven't been able to donate since reaching knighthood in June. Sorry. You deserve much, much, much more. But this is what I can give now. Have a good holiday season, karma for all, and go podcasting.
Go podcasting!
You've got karma.
There we go. Thank you so much.
Sir K-Town, Lord of the Late Night Lab in Milltown, New Jersey, 33333. Trigger warning.
Uh-oh.
I was watching the coverage of the California shooting when the talking heads brought up how lucky and miraculous it was there was coincidentally a full-fledged SWAT team training. By the way, I want to say, because we have enough No Agenda people that have kind of gotten a clue about deconstructing, it's like half of the stuff I was going to bring up on the show it was already tweeted to me by various, No Agenda mavens. It was very funny.
Isn't that great?
It was hilarious. I was, oh, damn, I thought that was a good one.
I must have 4 reports from boots on the ground, people who live in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discrepancies with what they're saying, with their timeline. There still should be some guy out there. And apparently they have someone in custody.
Yes, everybody said 333, but...
Yeah.
333 is what it is, and that's what Sir K-Town gave us, 333. I was watching the coverage, and he says, fully fledged SWAT team nearby, give me a break. That combined with their piss-poor, lame-witted analysis of the day's events served as a reminder to me why you guys truly are the best podcast in the universe. I want real in-depth coverage and analysis of the world's current events, not some brain-dead news models who read, hello, Brooke.
Hey, Brooke.
Who read propaganda for a living. No Agenda is the only news source that provides such analysis without the influence of corporate advertisers and government shills. As such, I'm fulfilling my part of the value for value model and throwing you guys a healthy chunk of my slave wages, turning to my trigger-free safe space. Keep up the good work.
And does he want anything?
He didn't say.
Oh, yeah, I have, can I get a...
Oh, no, he's got it at the end. He does. He is. Can I get a JCD, you will obey, both Amen fist bumps, news model, and Fletcher, and a heaping helping of holiday karma for the two of you and all the other No Agenda producers.
Let me see what I can do.
You will obey. You will obey. You will obey.
Amen. Fist bump.
Amen. Fist bump.
You've got Christmas karma.
You've got karma.
Nice. Christmas karma. You've got Christmas karma.
Jan Leclerc in Luxembourg.
Wow.
$250.
That's cool.
Yes, we need more Luxembourg.
Do we need an address in Luxembourg?
Yeah, so we can go hang out. Here is a long escape. Actually, Switzerland's better for that. Luxembourg is in the EU. Here is a long time overdue donation for the best podcast in the universe. With this donation, I'm halfway to knighthood. On Friday and on Monday, I take exams. So please give me some exam and job karma. Choose any clip of your liking.
Well, we'll give him jobs karma. That should be good, right?
Yeah.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
We'll have some more clips of our liking at the end of the show that I think you'll appreciate.
Yeah.
John F. Bell, $234.56, 23456, and parts unknown. Let's see. I click on this. Did you get anything before Watch the Nonsense on TV?
Let me see. I have Hey Guardians of Reality.
Oh, okay, got it. I'm sorry. Hey Guardians of Reality, the caps off my last donations to this caps off my last donation to knighthood. Oh. I don't think he's on the list.
No. Well, we can put him on the list. Well, do we have a name for him?
Well, we're going to read and find out. Thank you for your best podcast in the universe. I've been listening since show 170, and this is the only thing that keeps me sane when I watch the nonsense on TV. I'm glad Adam finally discovered The Americans, which I consider one of the best shows on television.
Totally agree, and yeah. Totally agree.
Well, my wife agrees too.
Yeah, it's outstanding.
I would like a shout out to the monthly donors like myself. Just like me, you can become a knight by making a reasonable donation on a monthly basis. For the boners who have not donated yet, there's still time to repent and become born again by donating to the best podcast in the universe. Thanks again, as it helps a lot of us get through the week. I would like a Dr. Kiki juice and resist we much. I will be sending my donation history via email from John Bell at, and he's got his email on there.
But anyway, that was just...
Do we...
here's his title.
Okay.
I would like my title to be JB Knight of the DMV. Oh, that's interesting. Maryland, Virginia, not the crappy Department of Motor Vehicles. Thanks for... DMV equals DC. Oh, I see. It stands for D.C., Maryland, and Virginia.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
Thanks. Okay.
Shut up already. It's science.
Look at that juice. The juice that comes out. My hand is dripping wet here because I have nothing but juice. But look at that juice.
Oh, hold on. That's the wrong one. Where's your juice clip? That came in twice. Hold on a second. Where's...
Oh, you erased it?
No, I didn't. No, of course not. I got juice, but then I also got the wrong resist. It's crazy. Here we go. Okay. Sorry about that.
Well, that's expected since you missed Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Can you see that juice?
What is this? What is this? Oh, my God. What is this? Oh, I know. That's
song.
That's for end of show.
Yeah.
I just want Sharpton saying resist we much. Here we go.
But resist we much. We must and we will much.
You've got karma.
Okay. I'm also trying to write down his information at the same time.
You have to fix these.
Yeah.
This is because you missed the Cinco de Mayo.
Yes, I know. I missed the Cinco de Mayo. Thank you.
It's pretty funny. Okay, here's Jamie Graham with apparently a cut down version of her complaint.
I saw her original complaint.
Did you? I didn't.
Yeah.
She never sent it to me because I called her James once.
Oh, she was so mad that you broke your agreement. You didn't call him. You didn't do the shout out. You're horrible. You suck. I can't believe this. And then I think she sobered up.
And gave 234.53, 234.53, which is odd. I wasn't going to donate ever again. I will explain in a note. And I'm sending it to Adam so John doesn't call me James to designate me as a male. I enjoy the gender nature gave me. This donation puts me $100 over knighthood. I'd like to announce my love for Sir Mad Hatter.
Woo!
We know Sir Mad Hatter.
We sure do.
Despite the negative vibes that cover him when he gets home from work, a nag, schoolwork, and a to-do list that's miles long. I love him, and I'm grateful for any time we get to spend together. We both agree no agenda, on-air messages are the best love letters. It is. It's just like this, and it's, by the way, I believe it's cheaper than putting these letters up on the billboard at a baseball game. He should have gotten a Father's Day shout out this year, so he will get it today. Well, happy Father's Day, Sir Mad Hatter.
Happy Father's Day, Sir Mad Hatter.
Can you read the rest of this because it falls off into oblivion here?
Yes. So he will get it today. Happy Father's Day, handsome. And a double happy belated birthday to my Uncle Gil in Wally World, Connecticut. I'm also hoping if I mention Pia and LT, maybe they will listen. Fingers crossed that this jump into knighthood will receive the karma I need for some warmer weather and a happier husband. And it is my belief that she wanted some massive jobs karma.
I should mention that the weather request, it takes about 6 months, but it will happen.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. You've got karma.
I think the mistake she made is she didn't send pictures with her donation. That's usually how you make sure things happen around here.
David Ingram in Omaha, Nebraska, $200.33. For Mom and Dad, Jennifer, Heather, Uncle Jeff, and Aunt Pam, Kim, Grandma, David, Carrie, Remington, and Margaret. Kayla Ingram, cheers for your 33rd birthday. Wow. This Friday the 4th. Here's $200.33 to start you off on your knighthood and support the revolutionary show that has you constantly ranting. Thank you, Kayla, for keeping us focused on media corruption, climate denial, and the true meaning of Thanksgiving, heritage turkeys. Kayla is a faithful No Agenda shill, and we know she wants you to be producing this bang-up podcast. It is irreplaceable. Please play these jingles. JWTC7, ClimateGate, don't be a denier. By the way, we love our dryer balls.
Yeah. Hey, I was thinking the other day that I really notice no difference between when I use the dryer sheets filled with evil chemicals and the dryer balls. No difference in my laundry, except my skin isn't burning off like it used to.
Yes, it's not peeling off from chemicals.
WTC7 won't go away.
To the gate, to the gate, to the climate gate.
The science is in. Science.
You've got karma.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice little combo there. I like that.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. And finally, our last associate executive producer, Sir Trevor Baxter, our buddy in Aurora, Indiana, $200.33 also. This should complete my baronhood for the frozen wastes of Antarctica. Hopefully, I can get some good PR for the show out of this somehow now that I have more legitimate claim to the land. Or he wants to be the baron. Right, he's the Antarctica guy.
Oh, there was an issue with that.
Note?
Yes, one of our other knights sent in and said, barons, I think, sent in and said this is not okay. He feels that if you are going to have a protectorate, you either live there or you should have at least been there. Because how else are you going to?
Interesting point of discussion.
How else are you going to protect it if you don't live there or you've never been there?
Well, you could say that about half the people that are in Congress.
I'm not so sure. Oh, Congress, yeah, but not our knights and barons and dukes. It's just a point of reference.
Well, we will put this in a bay. We'll give him the barony of Antarctica, but it will be a provisional and under discussion.
I don't like the optics of that, but okay.
I think it's good. He can put up with provisional. He's the provisional baron of Antarctica. Hopefully, he can get some good PR for the show. And Antarctica maybe spell out no agenda in the snow. Anyway, thank you for your courage. Go podcasting karma, please.
You've got karma.
There we go.
Remind people we do have a show coming up on Sunday.
Sunday.
Same thing, Sunday. So please go to Dvorak.org/NA and pick up a program of some sort. In our discussions with Eric DeShill, he notices that most of the people that have taken subscriptions, they crap out in 5 months because their card dies and never go back and resubscribe. Take a look and see if your subscription is still active.
Yeah, this does happen a lot. And people are always surprised because the note you will receive with it at some point is, oh, No Agenda Show unsubscribed you, which is kind of crazy. I don't think we would ever do anything like that.
No, we wouldn't do it. But I think what they're trying to say is that the process of subscription, which we don't do auto renewals on people and hound them.
Can we? Is that something we can do?
Well, I don't
I don't want to, but is that an option?
I believe
just
so.
Curious. Asking for a friend, hashtag?
I think it's true. You can do that, but we don't. And because, you're going to end up with some guy, 10 years from now is giving us $5 and he doesn't.
I don't like it either. I don't like it either.
It's not a good practice.
Well, thank you so much to our executive producers and associate executive producers today. Once again, these are very real credits accepted anywhere credits are recognized. And if you need any vouching, we're happy to do that. And yes, we do need support for another show coming up at some. Oh, shoot me now. Dvorak.org/NA. All right, please go out there and do the very important work of propagating our formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
Shut us!
Now I want to play a clip that rebuts something that you said a little earlier, which was the last night's report about leaving all the corpses in the body in the place. And this actually rebuts everything.
Okay.
This is a clip that is that says this is the first. This is a what is this word on here? It's all smeared. Something first report with stretchers. I think there's another one.
I have first report from Scott Pelley is what I have.
No, but that I want to play next.
Okay,
it's down a little bit. This one says something. It's all muddled. It says Marcos or something AG for. I don't know what I was trying to type.
Yeah, and you wonder why I sometimes pull the wrong clip. I'm ready. You ready?
Yeah, hit it.
You're telling me that your wife is in that building?
Just got out of the building right now.
What did she see?
She said the guy came in next to her office and I guess started shooting. They locked themselves in her office. They seen bodies on the floor, and she said right now ambulance are taking people out in stretchers.
That is the first report we've had from inside the building. That's Marcos Aguilera describing what his wife told him about what she saw in the office building.
Okay.
Wait a minute. They're pulling. This was like right at the beginning. They got stretchers in there and they're pulling people out.
No, I don't think that's true at all.
No.
Maybe that was the drill part of it where they were pulling people out on stretchers.
And here's actually the first report that I picked up off of CBS. And this is Scott Pelley. Oh, by the way, should not be doing these sorts of things. He's not that good at it.
Number is sure to change as we learn more and discover exactly what has occurred there in the next several hours. The freeway has been blocked off entirely in front of this building, where you can see the fire department has set up a triage area to treat the wounded. Jan Crawford reported a moment ago that the wounded are already en route to the Loma Linda University Medical Center. We do not have any information on any conditions of those people who've apparently been wounded. We do not know whether there are any fatalities.
Everyone's trying to be Dan Rather. He sounded just like Dan Rather reporting on JFK being shot. Well, this is what we know at this hour. We do not have. It's like everyone's doing Dan Rather.
I never thought about it, but you're probably right.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that clip had what I was looking for, which was his mention of long guns.
Yeah.
Now you heard this on and off. There was. Do you remember the last time, or actually the first time we heard the phrase "long guns"? And I believe the last time it was used this frequently. In a pirate movie, matey, bring out the long guns.
No. Sandy Hook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with the definitions here. A gun is a gun. It doesn't have rifling. These were, and by the way, these weren't AK-47s. Everyone keeps saying AK-47s. The reports that finally came out this morning, these are M16s.
Yeah.
They're 223s. It shoots horrible.
Long gun.
And long gun. These are rifles. They're rifles. If they say an assault rifle is fine, but they're rifles. They're rifling in the barrel. It's a different animal than a gun, which has no rifling. It's like a pistol or a shotgun. And it's a different, so why are you calling them long guns? Because the word gun is what we're trying to do with gun
we want gun, not rifle, of course.
We want gun as the word that's operative word. So these guys weren't using pistols. We're trying to get some laws against pistols. Right. What are we going to do? Call them guns. Call them long guns.
Yeah. Well, never let any good crisis go to waste.
I'm telling you, this is outrageous. These memes about the daughters, the long guns, the frequency.
Then I'm going to move us on, and we'll do the exact same thing with the Planned Parenthood shooting. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. And this has kind of been pushed to the background, so I'm talking now 2 days ago, when this was top of the news before this, there you go. The frequency is increasing, so we'll never really get to fully analyze anything, because just when we're kind of sure we know what's going to happen, maybe the frequency will kick in and the 6-week cycle turns into six cycles per week.
I think this is working better.
Oh, it's much better because no one has any time.
Comey's the smarter guy than the other guy.
He is smarter. No. So here is the facts as we know them. About we don't even know if the Planned Parenthood shooting started in Planned Parenthood. We don't know anything. The main point that came out, which is still, I think the guy is, I'm not sure when he's being arraigned, but we only have the rumor that someone heard a law enforcement officer say the guy muttered under his breath baby parts.
Yeah.
So unlike the San Bernardino shooting, which has a lot of terrorism memes in there, which we just won't call terrorism, immediately the same day, Planned Parenthood came out with a statement saying, this is nuts. We can't have all this. This is always happening. We're being targeted. And they rolled out everybody, John. Everybody was rolled out. And you can't blame them, considering that they got so harassed by politicians, so harassed by the rhetoric, which we need to talk about what rhetoric means, that they're striking back at Republicans. But it's in a way that is... It's a big shut up slave moment. Huge shut up slave. I don't know how much legs it's going to get because of the frequency now, but let us start with, and they rolled out everybody they could, including Cecile. But first we have Vicky Cohart. She is the CEO of the Colorado Planned Parenthood operation, and she's got her talking point. Very interesting woman to look at. Beautiful gray hair. You can tell she still is stunning to look at. The gray, it's kind of like Mimi. Mimi has this beautiful gray hair, and it's a beautiful look. I love it when Mimi has it tied back in that huge ponytail. She's still doing that?
No.
Oh, too bad. I like that. She hasn't gone short, has she?
No.
Oh.
I want to same height.
Okay.
In the morning.
Here we go. Vicky Cohart.
I want to move back to this idea of domestic terrorism again. You're being cautious about
Now we need to keep that in mind. They desperately want this to be labeled as terrorism, domestic terrorism, which has a very specific legal definition, which this could totally fall into. But it's important. Then we can have, it's a whole different level of prosecution and fear, pretty much.
What the suspect may or may not have said. But you have said in a statement that extremists are creating a poisonous environment that feeds domestic terrorism.
Extremists. You do know what they're talking about here, don't you, John?
Yeah, Tea Party.
Yeah, Donald Trump.
Yeah, Donald Trump.
We've experienced so much hateful language, hateful speech. Such a negative environment has been created around the work that Planned Parenthood does around the idea of safe and legal abortion. And we've seen that across the country from all sorts of speakers in the last few months. I can't believe that this isn't contributing to some folks mentally unwell or not, thinking that it's okay to target Planned Parenthood or to target abortion providers.
Are you talking about members of Congress?
I think politicians have been in that conversation.
Conversation.
And I mean, that the airwaves are full of anti-abortion language, of anti-Planned Parenthood accusations, much of which is false in nature.
Much of which, not all of, much of which.
Nature. And
that's a great line. Much of which is false in nature. nature doesn't mean it's factually false. It's false in this is a good one. You know,
accusations, much of which is false in nature,
and she's up talking it too. False in nature. This is a 66-year-old woman. Stop it's false in nature.
False in nature. And we at Planned Parenthood are first and foremost a healthcare provider. We provide life-saving services to all kinds of folks, men and women across our communities. And the tirades against Planned Parenthood in the last few months have really been over the top.
Okay, so the idea here is that speech, this type of speech from, of course, only Republican candidates, it's going to be equated to yelling fire in a crowded theater. This is what they are pushing for to make people shut up. Anderson Pooper to the rescue.
Like other Planned Parenthood clinics, this one in Colorado Springs provides a range of health care services to women, including abortions. And as we said, the suspect mentioned baby parts to investigators, as well as anti-abortion.
This has not been proven.
And anti-government views.
I didn't hear any of that. He also had anti-government, anti-abortion views. Did you hear any of this?
No. When did that happen?
It came out of Pooper's butthole.
He said the suspect mentioned baby parts to investigators, as well as.
But just listen again. They are saying as if they have some proof. This is not journalism. This is he should have thrown in alleged or something or supposedly anything but this.
Yes,
this
would have at least gotten past your complaining.
The New York Times would have fired someone who allowed that to go to print. Or they should have. Maybe they don't anymore.
Other Planned Parenthood
they used to.
Clinics, this one in Colorado Springs, provides a range of health care services to women, including abortions. And as we said, the suspect mentioned baby parts to investigators, as well as anti-abortion and anti-government views.
New to me.
The attack comes as abortion has once again become a white-hot issue on the campaign trail, fueled in part by controversial videos made by an anti-abortion group about Planned Parenthood.
It is really disturbing to see the kind of hateful rhetoric that...
Now, this is Cecile, obviously. Who?
Oh, yes.
I love this woman. Oh, my. Is this a woman or what? This is a great lady. She just looks like she's great. And it's too bad she's working for those guys.
It's been talked about both about Planned Parenthood, about the women who come to us, about the doctors who provide health care. It's very hard to see these kind of violent incidents that I think sometimes this rhetoric fuels.
What is rhetoric, John? What is the definition of rhetoric?
Well, the definition of rhetoric has changed over the years, and it's actually got a lot of definitions. In the classic sense, rhetoric always referred to, it could actually refer to oratory, and it could refer to how to use the language properly. And there used to be courses in the major schools, rhetoric courses you'd take, so you could be, you'd have the ability to speak properly and write properly and argue properly. Arguing is part of it. That is the old-fashioned definition. Today's definition is just a use of using exaggerations and hyperbole.
The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines it, 1, the art of speaking or writing effectively, the study of principles and rules of the skill and effective use of speech and verbal communication.
In the 1800s, that would be true.
Right. Well, I always like to look at the Wikipedia, when you just type in rhetoric definition to Google, they give you the definition, which I'm seeing more and more people posting as, okay, this is what the word means. But that's not necessarily from an approved and authorized dictionary source. So according to Google, rhetoric, the art of effective or persuasive speaking or writing, especially the use of figures of speech and other compositional techniques. So I guess she means this form of lying in this case. Rhetoric means lying.
I think they're talking about the modern definition. In fact, I just looked it up. This is in dictionary.com, which does a pretty good job of this, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And number one current definition in writing or speech, talking or writing, the undue use of exaggeration or display bombast.
And should we use dictionary.com from now on as the official No Agenda word source?
I like it.
Okay.
To that point, you said earlier today, you said hateful rhetoric and words and harassment of doctors and harassment of women going to health centers have real implications. And you've said, quote, that you've never seen the kind of rhetoric that we are seeing from presidential candidates. Do you directly link the rhetoric that you're hearing from presidential candidates to what happened?
Well, I can't directly link it, Anderson, but I do think that everyone in public office, people who are leaders in this country, have a responsibility to think about the words they use, the language they use, and the possible repercussions.
Mm-hmm. Don't you love that?
Because words do matter. Shut up, slave.
All right, words matter. Be careful what you say. It's like yelling fire in a theater. Now we go to the entertainment portion of CNN. Larry Wilmore has this talk show. This is, where did this guy come from, Larry Wilmore?
Larry Wilmore's talk show, I believe, is on Comedy Central.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Why am I saying CNN? Comedy Central.
He used to be one of the bit players on the Jon Stewart show.
On the Jon Stewart show. Okay. Well, and let's listen in.
No more baby parts. Okay, now this could be excused as just a nut uttering some crazy thing, but that sounds very specific. No more baby parts. I mean, almost as if it was served up in an ice cold pitcher of Fox and their friends Kool-Aid.
Selling the body parts of aborted babies.
They are taking babies apart to harvest its brain.
Baby parts.
Baby parts.
Baby parts.
Little baby parts. Rip up their body parts and sell them like they're parts to a Buick.
A dead baby's head.
I love
Isn't that great?
Dead baby's head Buick parts. Okay, so let's review. Since the summer, Fox and the GOP ramped up their rhetoric about baby body parts being sold at Planned Parenthood. The Kool-Aid. Cut to, a guy shoots up at Planned Parenthood, then rants about baby parts. Now, you guys know what Occam's razor is, right? The simplest explanation is probably the correct one. So do I feel comfortable saying that he was at least partially motivated by the right's demonization of Planned Parenthood?
Oh, yeah!
Thank you, Kool-Aid Man.
All right, so he's just going all in, and Occam's razor would be, we have no idea what he said, and you're full of crap. That would be Occam's razor.
Occam's razor would be the guy who was nuts.
But in other words, that's used specifically to call out conspiracy theorists. Now let's go over to another EVP on the rhetoric of Planned Parenthood.
It's unrealistic, and most people would say that the more that people are out there demonizing, saying offensive and untrue things about an organization, calling us outlandish names and making really obscene charges that are not true, the more that people, even if they are mentally unstable, can then decide that they're being asked to take action. And of course, we need to be asking why people who are perhaps have mental illness are being allowed access to AK-47s to terrorize not just health centers, but theaters and schools, and not asking why those groups and organizations and places have to be significantly fortified.
And they are significantly fortified. There's a lot of cameras in every Planned Parenthood. We have not seen any of that footage either. Now, Washington Post, they want
why does it always have to be an AK-47?
That's a leftover from the F. Putin meme.
It's a ridiculous, yes, it's a part of and nobody even uses it. That's the AK-74 is what they'd use if it was using that gun at all.
The newspaper that desperately wants to become the new paper of record, the Washington Post.
And they're trying so hard.
Well, it's not going to work with Ruth Marcus. Are you familiar with Ruth Marcus? Seems like an old.
No, I'm going to be in a minute.
Yeah, she seems like an old school, hardened, hard ass, hard nosed journalist. And this is a journalist. She writes for the Washington Post. They want to be the paper of record. And this is what they do?
The Republican candidates have been very, very quiet about this shooting, this horrible shooting, for an obvious reason, which is they have been part of the inflamed and inflammatory rhetoric about Planned Parenthood, about the sale of baby parts, about dismembering live babies, which is not accurate, not what was shown on the videos. And that, when you use inflammatory rhetoric, you inflame people.
No!
And I think that
write that down, John. If you use inflammatory, so are these people spontaneously combusting into flames?
That when you use inflammatory rhetoric, you inflame people. And I think that we don't know exactly what this shooter was all about. I think it is a fair conclusion, especially based on his mentioning of no more baby parts,
which is not confirmed. Washington Post, future paper of record, liar.
Alleged mentioning of no more baby parts.
Oh, she said alleged. She slipped in alleged. Okay.
That's this kind of rhetoric that helped create this environment.
So is it what the shooter says, even though he may be deranged, that you think has a direct correlation with what the campaign...
well, it's on the script, therefore we have to yell it.
Rhetoric has been all about, because if that's the formula, there have been a lot of people who've said some pretty outrageous things that you can't really tie to the national discourse.
Well, let me make myself clear. People who are deranged
what is she running for office? Let me make myself clear?
Yeah.
And then she turned invisible.
Look her up, will you? I want to know what she's doing over there.
Give me her name again.
Ruth Marcus.
Are not responsible for their own behavior, so certainly candidates are not responsible for the behavior of deranged people. However, when you exaggerate the rhetoric, when you accuse Planned Parenthood of doing things that it was not doing, you help create a climate.
Say what?
It was doing.
Yeah, it was doing it. Well, this is their chance, you see. They get to strike back.
Parenthood of doing.
See what you did? You killed people.
Things that it was not doing. You help create a climate where these deranged people have an outlet for their derangement. And I think it does play a role. It's not the cause, but it is part of the environment that helps create this thing. And I do think that all lawmakers and all politicians have a responsibility to keep the discourse civil and to keep it accurate. And that is not what's been going on with the Planned Parenthood debate, in my view.
Okay. Did you look her up?
She's a lawyer, Harvard Law School. She writes commentaries in the Washington Post.
Okay.
So you can't use that argument.
You're right. I can't do that. I didn't realize that.
She's an op-ed writer.
Okay. All right. I didn't realize. But still, on message, as is the president.
With respect to Planned Parenthood, obviously, my heart goes out to the families of those impacted. I mean, Nancy, I say this every time we've got one of these mass shootings. This just doesn't happen in other countries.
Yeah, it does. Paris.
We
Norway.
are rightly
Denmark.
Right. Holland.
Determined.
England.
To prevent terrorist attacks wherever they occur, whether in the United States or with friends and allies like France. And we devote enormous resources, and properly so, to rooting out networks and...
he's boring me now. Shut up. I'm bored.
He's boring.
He's boring.
Now, when I hear him say the same spiel and he's using it, it's almost word for word.
It is word
always
for word.
Adds, at least with not this frequency.
Did he say that here, frequency?
No, on that one he didn't, but I'm telling you, I've heard him say
yeah. I don't think he does it on this one. This is before the frequency.
Yeah, before somebody clued him in.
I think we have 2 more clips.
The undercover recording set off a firestorm, with many calling to defund Planned Parenthood. Some of the loudest voices, Republican candidates for president. Candidate Mike Huckabee told a radio host it's the worst thing he's seen since Nazi Germany. At CNN's GOP debate in September, more anger-filled rhetoric. An impassioned Carly Fiorina.
Watch a fully formed fetus on the table, its heart beating, its legs kicking, while someone says we have to keep it alive to harvest its brain.
Goodbye, Carly. Goodbye, Carly. Please. Goodbye, Carly.
Trouble is, in this case, that wasn't video of an aborted fetus, but of a stillborn child.
She's correct. That is exactly what is true. So Carly just saw it, but she was wrong.
The Citizen
Journal likes to exaggerate everything.
No, this inflamed rhetoric.
The company's done quite well. We're making plenty of money.
Working with the group who made the video, Center for Medical Progress, told CNN that while he does believe Planned Parenthood sold fetal tissue, he did get creative with the video, admitting that it was edited. A critical detail that seemed to be lost on all the GOP candidates. Following the shooting at the Colorado Planned Parenthood clinic, the Executive Vice President of Planned Parenthood Federation of America had strong words for Republican critics.
Here we go.
Writing, "It is offensive and outrageous that some politicians are now claiming this tragedy has nothing to do with the toxic environment they helped create."
Outstanding. The final one, because we got to wrap it up. There's nothing better than being Cecile Richards and being interviewed by Andrea Mitchell on MSNBC. because she might as well just ask the question, then jump through the camera, go to the other side, and answer the question. I mean, this is not an interview.
The political parties have been pretty well divided by wedge issues, social issues, including abortion rights, for many years now. We've seen this in so many cycles. But it does seem now as though the divide is even more pronounced than in the past.
I've never seen the kind of rhetoric that we are seeing from presidential candidates that are demeaning not only Planned Parenthood, but women who go to Planned Parenthood, doctors at Planned Parenthood, even the fact that there is safe and legal abortion in America. I do think that this political season it's as toxic as I have ever seen. And again, the extraordinary thing and what we've seen, Andrea, over the last few months is as these attacks have escalated on health centers and on Planned Parenthood, the support of Planned Parenthood has only grown. And hundreds of thousands of new supporters have joined Planned Parenthood because they're now realizing that access to basic health care, not only safe and legal abortion, but other preventive care that we provide is actually at risk in America.
Where do we stand with the defunding issue in Congress because of the...
Watch her not answer the question.
The undercover videos, the fetal tissue issue, which became, so...
The fetal tissue issue. Hi, I made another rhyme.
Toxic.
Well, as I think you know, Planned Parenthood is full of...
Wow, did she just editorialize there, huh? It's so toxic. It's so toxic. This is a big meme word. It's so toxic. The rhetoric is toxic. It's toxic.
So toxic.
So toxic.
Well, as I think you know, Planned Parenthood is fully cooperated with Congress. We've provided tens of thousands of pages of documents. I spent 5 hours in front of a congressional committee. We are fully cooperative. They have found zero evidence of any wrongdoing at Planned Parenthood. We now have a record of 5 committees by this U.S. House of Representatives trying to investigate Planned Parenthood. I frankly think that what I wish Congress would spend their time on is thinking about how to get more women in this country health care that's affordable and accessible, the kind that we provide to nearly 3 million people every single year.
Wrap it up.
And can you respond to the continuing rhetoric about selling baby parts?
Absolutely, Andrea. I mean, we have been very clear. There are only a handful of centers in the country that allow women to donate fetal tissue. There is no profit involved. There is nothing like that.
Mm-hmm. They actually changed their processes based upon this. That's not reported anywhere.
Of course not.
They changed to not take any money at all. No fees, no nothing, just to hand it out. So
I think they should go the other way. Jack up the price. Put a fee list down.
Yeah.
And then when somebody comes on the camera, here's the fee list. You talk to the paper.
Anyways, so
by the way, I thought it was excellent of you to begin by pointing out the word and usage of the word rhetoric. And then because we did the definition skit, all we hear is that word now.
Oh, yeah. Rhetoric.
This will be one of those words that people out there will hear and they go, oh, no agenda.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. Rhetoric. Oh, no agenda. Rhetoric. No agenda. Rhetoric.
No agenda. I forgot to donate. No agenda.
Rhetoric. Toxic rhetoric. Toxic rhetoric. Donate. No agenda. Toxic rhetoric. All right. Well, of course, there's no way to escape it. We have the big COP21, the big climate conference happening in Gay Paris. It's not even in Paris. It's Le Bourget, which is where they always have the Paris Air Show. Oh, it's not real. It's an airport, pretty much, Le Bourget.
Yeah, it's up as north.
Yeah, it's an airport. It's not really.
They don't have a lot of big facilities in Paris.
No, Le Bourget is a convention place.
The joke of I always thought this was interesting. In most of Europe, compared to like the Las Vegas Convention Center or any city in the country of the United States, we have like the Moscone in San Francisco. There's a Los Angeles operation. There's the Javits Center. There's nothing like those things anywhere in Europe by comparison. There's a few little centers that are big enough to hold a book fair, but there's nothing like Las Vegas, for example. So people flying from all over the world to go to an event in Las Vegas.
Yeah. And Le Bourget is great because everyone can land their plane there.
They can land their private jets.
Yep. They can land their jets.
Those carbon-producing jets will be landed.
All right, so let's open up
the park.
Let's open up the gate then, since we're going there.
To the gate, to the gate, to the climate.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Climate Gates, 2015 COP21 in Gay Paris. Here's the president. We all know why he's there. We all know what's going on. We all know the connection. The connection was made very early on by the douche knuckle from the New York, Thomas Friedman, who did a series about the Earth and how we're all going to die, and he was the first one to say climate change is responsible for terrorism. And the president followed his lead.
In Paris today, President Obama warned that the world is fast approaching the hour when it will be too late to save the planet from climate change. Before the unprecedented global summit meeting, Mr. Obama acknowledged the threat of terrorism, placing a tribute at one of the scenes of the recent attacks. Then he told 151 heads of state and government that a deal to cut carbon emissions would be an act of defiance against terror.
And our buddy, Bill Nye, the crazy science guy, is now the climate guy. He was on the HuffPost Live. This one kind of went viral.
It's very reasonable that the recent trouble in Paris is a result of climate change.
Okay, that's very reasonable. Very reasonable.
Yes, I can think of nothing more reasonable.
This water shortage.
That's the explanation.
Well, let's listen to him. He will tell us how it works.
It's very reasonable that the recent trouble in Paris is a result of climate change. This water shortage in Syria. There is a water shortage in Syria. This is fact-based. Small and medium farmers have abandoned their farms because there's not enough water, not enough rainfall. And especially the young people who have not grown up there, have not had their whole lives invested in living off the land. Young people have gone to the big cities looking for work. There's not enough work for everybody. So the disaffected youths, as we say, the young people who don't believe in the system, believe the system's failed.
They're ready to be radicalized.
Don't believe in the economy, are more easily engaged and more easily recruited by terrorist organizations. And then they end up partway around the world in Paris shooting people.
Wait a minute. They were French nationals, you douche. There were no foreigners who did this. They were French nationals, at least the ones that were killed.
So you can make a very reasonable argument that climate change is not that indirectly related to terrorism. It's related to terrorism. So this is just the start of things. The more we let this go on, the more trouble there's going to be. You can say, we'll stamp out the terrorists. But if everybody's leaving their farms because of water shortages, that's a little bigger problem.
That's a little bigger problem. Okay, well, you heard it from Bill Nye. It must be true. Now the president. Now, I'm very concerned about our president. I don't know if you've noticed this, but it looks like he's defeated. He has this complete defeated attitude. His energy is extremely low, although from time to time he picks up a little bit. But he's also talking insane stuff. And maybe it's not scripted. Maybe he feels like he can go off script and go kind of do his own thing. But when you're the president, he's always so good that whatever he says, he can point to that 2 years later and say, "I said exactly that." You look at the wording, it's like, "Oh crap!" He's a lawyer; he understands language. So when I heard this, I'm like, he's losing it. And then something else. This is the first little tidbit of his speech there in Le Bourget.
Now, the fact of the matter is there's a...
Oh, my God. The fact of the matter. We start off right away. Are you kidding me?
Now, the fact of the matter is there's a reason why you have the largest gathering of world leaders probably in human history.
Listen to his energy.
Here in Paris. Everybody else is taking climate change really seriously. They think it's a really big problem. It spans political parties. I mean, you travel around Europe and you talk to leaders of governments and the opposition, and they are arguing about a whole bunch of things. One thing they're not arguing about is whether the science of climate change is real and whether or not we have to do something about it. So whoever is the next president of the United States, if they come in and they suggest somehow that global consensus.
Global consensus, John. It's a global consensus. Global.
Not just 99.5% of scientists and experts.
Wait a minute.
What?
We went from 97 to 99.5.
The 97 was a bogus number. Now he's jacked it up to 99.5.
99.5. 99.5. Kiss FM.
The 0.5 are.
Yeah, 99.5.
Not just 99.5% of scientists and experts, but
99.5 Climate FM. How you doing, everybody? We're all going to die. Ah, another song here on 99.5.
99% of
what?
World leaders.
Oh, who's that one a-hole? If there's 150 people, wait, if there's 150 people there, world leaders, and 99% is all in, that means 1.5 world leaders.
Yeah, 1.5 guys.
Who's the 0.5er?
It's a midget from.
Who's the half guy?
World leaders think this is really important.
He can't even do math. That's that new Common Core stuff.
I think the President of the United States is going to need to think this is really important.
All right. So his energy's low, and then John, he just goes into some crazy stuff. Crazy.
I have long believed that the most elegant way to drive innovation and to reduce carbon emissions is
it's almost as though you slowed down the tape.
I didn't. This is what I've been noticing. I think he's just defeated. Then we'll get to that. He has nothing. Everyone's moving ahead without him. Boots on the ground in Syria. We're going to no-fly zone. He's been put on the sidelines. I think his energy is the lowest I've ever seen it. He's laughing. He's going. It's a real desperation chuckle.
I have long believed that the most elegant way to drive innovation and to reduce carbon emissions is to put a price on it.
Okay. Put a price on it. This is interesting because now we can reverse engineer, but the numbers don't really work for me. You can reverse engineer how much money is going to go into this thing. And it's less than I thought. And the reasoning behind it is the carbon budget. And if you look at the documentation from the shills, the carbon budget is a total of 750 gigatons of carbon in our lifetimes forever, of which we've already used 500. So there's only 250 gigatons left in our carbon budget in order to keep that budget in check, because, of course, things do happen naturally over time. We need to lower the temperature rise to 2 degrees. So now we have a number. This is how you can back into it. So 1 ton of CO2, the average price expected will be $22. It's kind of it's an average of what they believe will be $10 to start with and around $40 by 2035 or 2025 or 2035. I'm not sure. So a gigaton to me that's 1,000 million tons. Am I saying that right?
It's 1,000 billion.
1,000 million or billion?
Billion.
1,000 billion.
And a billion is a million.
Times 20.
Seems like a lot of money.
Seems like 2 trillion. 2.2 trillion. Do I have that right?
I don't have a pen.
I'm Common Core, so we can. It's going to be a lot of money. A lot of money that's going into this. And that's when he says, put a price on it. This is exactly what he means.
Well, hold on a second. What's putting a price on it got to do with lowering anything? But people just jack up the price and they pass it on to the consumers, whoever these polluters are, that they're carbon polluters. And then you just pay more for your monthly gas bill, and the economy spins into a depression.
Right. Exactly. It'll come in the form of a tax. And the tax that has to be paid. So it's all fictional. It's like money itself. It's just fictional, but random numbers. But at least they have numbers that we can now look at. So someone else will do the math, but I'm pretty sure it's $2.2 trillion.
Well, all I know is that I'm watching this, and $2.2 trillion is not that much nowadays. Especially if you listen to the clip I have where they...
I need to finish this before we go in.
Well, I was just going to say a couple of things.
I'd love to hear that. But first we have to listen to the crazy talk of the president. Because he's gone off his rocker, John. Completely insane.
This is a classic market failure. If you open up
how's it a market failure?
Well, it's a market failure because Maurice Strong just died. Now, Maurice Strong was the guy with Al Gore who started the carbon exchange.
Right, and then he rebuked it.
But this was supposed to be his Paris, his client. This is why it's in Paris. This was supposed to be his big thing.
Yeah, but isn't he the guy who rebuked all this?
Yeah, rebuke schmabook.
What? It's the way that goes.
One textbook. It'll say, the market's very good about determining prices and allocating capital towards its most productive use, except there's certain externalities. There's certain things that the market just doesn't count. It doesn't price.
So now he's an economist, and he's saying that this is a market failure that we have not come up with a price for carbon yet because of some crazy external factors. Maybe there's just no market people want to be in, but he's not saying that.
At least not on its own. Clean air is an example. Clean water, or the converse, dirty water, dirty air. In this case, the carbons that are being sent up that originally we didn't have the science to fully understand. We
didn't have the science to fully understand it? That's not true. We've had science to understand it since the early 70s when we claimed we were going into an ice age. Is he saying that was wrong? Because it's the same people, John Holdren, who are advising him right now. But for him to say we didn't, when did we get the science, John? When did we get the science? Did the measurements all of a sudden they were good? I don't understand what he's saying.
I don't know what he's talking about. He's completely nuts. And by the way, does he think he's being entertaining to these 150 world leaders?
No, he's putting them to sleep. And I even cut out the pauses in this.
The carbons that are being sent up that originally we didn't have the science to fully understand, we do now.
I don't.
And if that's the case, if you put a price on it, then the entire market would respond. And the best investments and the smartest technologies would begin scrubbing effectively our entire economy.
Scrubbing.
But it's difficult. And so, I think that...
Now he's struggling. Yeah, wait for it. He's struggling now. He's out of control, John. He's lost the plot at this point, and now he's just going to shoot from the hip. Maybe the teleprompter didn't work. It sounds like it was a teleprompter fail, actually.
No, I saw a part of this, and he was... No, it was something else. He was just not... I don't know what it was, but if you'd left the pauses in, the show would have been over.
Let me finish it.
It's just
well, I left this one in because it's his lead in to saying something insane.
The science around climate change is more accepted. As people start realizing that even today...
See, now he's back on track.
You can put a price on the damage that climate change is doing. You go down to Miami, and when it's flooding at high tide on a sunny day, and fish are swimming through the middle of the streets.
Hold on. John, I'm out here on the streets of Miami.
Tell us what you know.
I've been learning there's a lot of water, John, and oh my God, John, it is so bad. There are fish flopping around.
Be safe.
I'm trying to be safe, trying to get to higher ground, but then, oh my God, what is that? Oh no, that's a huge fish. It's just flopping in the water here on the streets of Miami. Climate change is real. We're all going to die.
Climate change is real. It's real. It's real. It's real.
Okay, I don't know of any fish flopping in Miami. Please send reports.
He didn't even say flopping. It's as though they're swimming around.
He said flopping.
Well, back it up.
High tide on a sunny day, and fish are swimming through the middle of the streets.
Swimming. Oh, you're right. Swimming. I thought they were flopping.
They're swimming.
There's so much water they can swim.
Yeah, they're swimming around Miami. They're just now people are bitching about not having enough food to eat. Come on,
you can walk into the street and grab some fish, some carp, some saltwater carp.
Insurance companies are beginning to realize that in terms of how they price risk. And the more the market on its own starts putting a price on it because of risk, it may be that the politics around setting up a cap and trade system, for example.
Cap and trade. There you go. And he's going
to that solve anything?
He's going to bring up your favorite topic.
Shifts as well. Obviously, I'm not under any illusion that this Congress will impose something like that.
Because they're not idiots.
It is worth remembering that it was conservatives and Republicans and center-right think tanks that originally figured out this was a smarter way to deal with pollution than a command and control system.
You know what's coming now.
And it was folks like George H.W. Bush and his EPA that effectively marshaled this approach to deal with acid rain.
Yeah.
We ended up solving it a lot faster.
Cue John.
Bullshit.
Give us a little more. No, well, that was a cap system, not cap and trade. It was a cap system, right?
With the acid rain, there was actually a modified cap and trade system. That's true. The mechanism was way different than this one we have for this phony deal. And of course, I know there's people listening that go, "Oh, these bastards! These guys they're in denial."
Yeah.
All I know is that I'll just use my logic. I'm going to bring it back up. I do it all the time. If there's a problem that's going to cause worldwide chaos, panic, terrorism, and everything in between, why are you doing cap and trade? You cap something, but you're not really capping it. You're trading. You're still putting out as much pollution, but you've traded your pollution or your carbon pollution, which is bullshit. But you're trading your carbon pollution for somebody's forest in South America because they have because their forest sucks up carbon dioxide. And so the net carbon dioxide going in the air is the same. If you have a problem, cap it. Cap it.
A lot cheaper than anybody had anticipated. And I guess more than anything, that's the main message I want to send here.
Oh, finally.
Is climate change is a massive problem.
Massive.
It is a generational problem.
Generational.
It's a problem that, by definition, is just about the hardest thing for any political system to absorb.
What? Climate change is by definition one of the hardest things to solve. No, it's not. That's not the definition of climate change. Am I overanalyzing this?
I think you've taken this in the wrong direction. Play it back and then we'll go over it.
It's a problem that, by definition, is just about the hardest thing for any political system to absorb because the effects are gradual, they're diffuse. People don't feel it immediately, and so there's not a lot of constituency pressure on politicians to do something about it right away.
Maybe you're just not buying the scam, yo. And then my favorite thing, and then I'm done.
Yo.
My favorite thing is, and I love this is happening, the big all-in Mel and Belinda Gates are now being called out for their moral support, their moral donations, their morals.
Lee Colleton used his feet today in lieu of fossil fuels, carrying a sign while other climate activists carried petitions with more than 1,000 signatures.
We're calling the Gates Foundation to cut its $1.4 billion ties with the fossil fuel industry.
The group says Gates is hypocritical, taking money from fossil fuel companies while rallying for clean energy.
So certainly we applaud what's been done. We appreciate that he's moved a significant portion of his financial capital here. We'd like him to bring his moral capital to the table as well.
Former Seattle Mayor Mike McGinn joined the activists, calling Gates Foundation investments a missed opportunity, one that jeopardizes its charitable work globally.
Sadly, the foundation undercuts its own advances when it invests in oil and coal companies whose products are causing the Earth's temperatures to rise and the oceans to acidify.
The Gates Foundation sent the following statement to King 5. Foundation staff have no influence on the trust's investment decisions and no visibility into its investment strategies or holdings other than through what is publicly available.
The world of global health.
Gates has criticized fossil fuel divestment campaigns for misleading messages about long-term climate impact. These activists say they know it's not a single solution, but it's an important place to start.
But what we're doing is we're asking them to spend their moral capital in saying that extracting fossil fuels is not a legitimate means of raising money for their charitable work.
And the reason this is happening is partially because of Obama's Organizing for Action group, who have started a big push. You can look at their website. Call out the climate change deniers, which is another version of shaming, like white privilege, male privilege, cisgender privilege, whatever privilege, Dutch privilege, Tourette's privilege. And they have a big website with the Obama logo on it. Call out the climate change deniers. And then you sign them up. You say these guys are denying. And of course, the first person you land at is Gates. And Buffett can't be far behind for trucking all of the oil in from Scandinavia.
Well, there's this thing going on, which I thought was interesting. And they had the 350 guys there, of course.
Which is now 420, isn't it?
They still call themselves 350. They can't get the other domain name.
I'm with the 420 guys.
So that includes McKibben, who keeps showing up. And this guy has become such a grump. He sits there, he's kind of hunched over, and he's just angry.
Now, who is this, McKibben?
McKibben is that guy. He's always on Democracy Now! He's the guy who started 350.org.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And he sat there with Amy Goodman, and he's just seething because whatever anybody's saying, it's not good enough. We're all going to die. Anyways, so one of his women that work on the operation, she gave this little speech on divestment and how well it's going. And there was a couple of little things in here that struck me. One is that if one of our guys, who's one of our producers, who's gone to the bowels of Congress and looked up White House and some of these other people who are
trading on insider trading
guys, and they're buying oil companies. At least they were.
Yeah.
I don't think they're doing it now, but they probably will start again. And I'm thinking if you can get these somehow cheaper. Because the oil companies are long-established businesses that pay good dividends, and it's a good investment. You can't get any interest at the bank anymore. You need dividend-producing companies, and that means, mining companies, oil companies, drilling companies, those kinds of things. And so you want to push down the price as much as you can because that means the dividend goes up. So if the stock is paying 3% and it's $100 a share, if you can push it down to $50, now it's paying 6%, and because it's a fixed amount, so it varies as the price of the stock changes. So this divestment thing, I really do believe is part of a process to slam these stocks, all of them. And just listen to this woman going on.
Hold on. Let me just review what you said. So what you're saying is, the way dividends work, if you can suppress the stock of, let's say, the oil companies, then your dividend effectively, if you can suppress it by 50%, your dividend effectively doubles.
Yes, because the dividend is a fixed amount. It's like the stock will be paying $1 a share dividend. It's not a percentage. It's not, because otherwise it'd be fluctuating all the time. So it's a fixed amount that they pay out. So based on the price of the stock,
it's a higher percentage of the worth of the value of the stock.
Yeah. So if you can sink the stock down to $10, you'll be making out if you can invest in it. So now's the time to think about investing.
Oh, that's great.
Promoting this divestiture. I can't even say it. But McKibben is going on. He went on and started this conference.
And this is why they're also doing this. They want all universities to divest from their.
Yes. And they're doing it. They're getting people to get out of it.
This is fantastic. I didn't know that.
McKibben says, well, it's the youth, the millennials are all in on this, and they're protesting and making people divest.
And I need to say, if you've watched The Americans, you will know that groups who want to affect some kind of change or start a ruckus very often use college kids to do their work.
Yeah. Of course. Well, of course, college kids are bored. And they were all in on oh God, the horrible demand. Anyone over 30. So let's play this divestment thing. I clipped it down as much as I could. I clipped it down a lot, actually, because there's a little. I had to get this little tidbit in at the end, which just cracks me up.
We're very pleased to be announcing the new commitments to divest from fossil fuels.
Wait, who is this? This is which
This is
outfit?
the woman. She's got a funny name. I can't remember it, but she's the 350.org head honcho just under McKibben.
All right.
And before I announce them to all of you, I just want to once again remind everyone what this movement for divestment is all about. We're here for a historic summit on climate change, and the divestment movement is about something quite simple.
Just a little.
I'd like to
If it's wrong to cause climate change, it's wrong to profit from causing climate change. And the divestment movement has taken off all over the world with this as its rallying cry. So without further ado, today we're announcing that as of today, total divestment commitments have passed the $3.4 trillion mark. That's $3.4 trillion of assets under management, now fossil-free. A growing number of investors, representing a growing amount of capital, do not want to be associated with this industry any longer. It is a rogue industry, and that is what these commitments represent.
It's a rogue industry?
It's gone rogue, I tell you.
How is it a rogue industry?
Well, because they make pharmaceuticals from oil. Rogue. They make plastics from oil. Rogue. Yeah. Don't they make batteries from
far
oil?
Away from anything that you would define as rogue as anything I can imagine. It's a rogue. People don't want to be involved because it's a rogue industry, she says. What a dick.
Well, I'll tell you this. This clip with the rogue industry in combination with your outstanding analysis of why divestiture is good because it raises the effective dividend for the shareholders. Those two things combined deserve this.
Clip of the day.
Deserved.
I thought the bang, 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 bang guy was really the one that should have gotten it.
The boom, boom, boom guy? Nah.
Boom, 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 boom.
The boom, boom, boom guy. Nah, not liking the boom, boom, boom guy. Oh, just for your information, that French weatherman who got fired for his book.
He wrote a book of saying this right.
Yes,
he shouted. That firing is a version of shouting the guy down for writing a book about climate change.
Yeah, he's been hired by RT.
In other words, he's still not working.
I think he's been hired by Putin personally.
Well, that could be, but you know what they pay there is.
Well, I don't know how well he was doing over there in the Frances.
Yeah, maybe not as well.
We take a moment just to talk about this, the cry bullies. There's a lot going around right now. We have the Lewis and Clark, which let's see, the president's office at Lewis and Clark. Where is Lewis? Is this Portland? Is it Oregon?
It's up in Oregon, I believe, somewhere. Yeah.
And so there's a list of demands.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, list of demands, and it is really quite sad to see what is being demanded of these university presidents based upon an attack. Let me see if I have do I have a clip here?
Yeah, it's outside of Portland, or it's in Portland.
Yeah. Okay. So they had some incidents take place, but then what they're asking for is, I'm just struggling to find it here for a moment, but the president must admit. But
Lewis and Clark had a situation that began, I guess, a year ago, and it involved actually there's a white kid and a black kid. They were best friends, both on the football team, I believe, and they were joking around, and one of them said something that offended a passerby who told somebody else, and they took and they turned them two in for being racist or something.
Right. Well, there was that, but then there was some kid who was beat up. Some Nigerian kid, I think, was beat up at Lewis. Was that Lewis and Clark? I think so.
I don't know if that was Lewis and Clark.
Well, I could be wrong. But anyway, here's the things. The demands are quite interesting. So the demands are have Barry Glasner, he's the president, hold a press conference you're right. No, it was one of the students was upset because was that doesn't matter. Here's what they want. A formal apology to Lewis and Clark Black Lives Matter organizers for his absence during the incident on the night of November 20, 2015, and the lack of communication thereafter. It was a Saturday, so he wasn't in his office. A verbal commitment to fulfilling LC Black Lives Matter and walk the talk demands. An admittance of his failure to prioritize the safety and security of students of color during his tenure as president. That's a pretty big one. So basically, you have to admit you were racist because you were safe for everyone but students of color. A formal statement to the Dallaire Scholarship donors, Romeo Dallaire, the UWC International Office, the Davis Foundation, blah, blah, blah. A public acknowledgement of the following facts. Lewis and Clark College was built upon stolen land through the genocide of indigenous and Native American peoples. Through its name, Lewis and Clark College honors the lives and deeds of owners of enslaved peoples. Lewis and Clark College replicates the assertion of and benefits from the legacy of Anglo-American white supremacy. So he has to admit to all of this. It's just crazy.
It's like he's just been captured by some terrorists in the Arab world.
I want all my money in a brown paper bag.
Back.
Yeah.
You must read a statement about the United States being such a bad place.
So you're right. It started it was over two buddies who were making racial jokes together, a black guy and a white guy, and they're just having fun. And that they were reported, and so this is how a lot of that kicked off. Now, we also had an interesting...
By the way, I want to stop and mention something the way I see these things. I have some sympathy in the outset for some of the students and what they want. But this has now gotten completely out of control, and it's ridiculous, and it's stupid. And I think these universities have got to, I mean, they're making so much money off these kids, they don't want to do anything. But the way I would do it is I'd find, and this is dominated by women, by the way, black women. There's been a lot of research. People talk about, what about you? You're with them, right? You're a guy. Why don't you say something? Oh, no, you can't. No. Nobody wants to say anything because they get called out and excoriated by these horrible
it's
people.
Frightening. You don't want to.
They should fire. You can't fire them. They should be expelled immediately. These kids that are doing this, when you come to the college, these colleges have got to make you sign something. So you have, like just
right. But what's happening, John?
They should fire them and let them deal with it. Then the argument would be over whether they got fired, whether they got expelled legally or not. Let them deal with that.
But what's happening, John, is the customers, although misguided, the customers of these, and what is Lewis and Clark? It's like $40,000 a year. It's like 20 grand a semester or something.
I'm sure
the customers are saying we want this, and their Schule, the schools, are such non-effective, non-smart people producing institutions. They are money-grubbing whores. Sorry. Not the teachers, but the system, the way it's set up with billions in endowments. They are doing what they're, because they're affected too. They've all become these blobs of blithering dough. Oh, the students are, I don't want to get fired because students will lose our money, we'll lose our income, except for, thank God, Dr. Everett Piper, president of the Oklahoma Wesleyan University.
The president of Oklahoma Wesleyan University.
Wesleyan, sorry.
Making headlines for his epic response to a student who was offended by a chapel sermon.
Yeah, this was great. The kid was offended.
Sermon.
Yes. I'll read here. I have the letter. This past week, I think I should just read. I have reports on it, but I'll just read it. This past week, I actually had a student, this is from the president, come forward after a university chapel service and complain because he felt, quote, victimized by a sermon on the topic of 1 Corinthians 13. It appears this young scholar felt offended because a homily on love made him feel bad for not showing love. In his mind, the speaker was wrong for making him and his peers feel uncomfortable. I'm not making this up. Our culture has actually taught our kids to be this self-absorbed and narcissistic. Anytime their feelings are hurt, they are victims. Anyone who dares challenge them and thus makes them feel bad about themselves is a hater, a bigot, an oppressor, and a victimizer. I have a message for this young man and all others who care to listen. That feeling of discomfort you have after listening to a sermon is called a conscience. An altar call is supposed to make you feel bad. It's supposed to make you feel guilty. The goal of many a good sermon is to get you to confess your sins, not coddle you in your selfishness. Selfishness. The primary objective of the church and the Christian faith is your confession, not your self-actualization. So here's my advice. If you want the chaplain to tell you you're a victim rather than tell you that you need virtue, this may not be the university you're looking for. If you want to complain about a sermon that makes you feel less than loving for not showing love, this might be the wrong place. If you're more interested in playing the hater card than you are in confessing your own hate, if you want to arrogantly lecture rather than humbly learn, if you don't want to feel guilt in your soul and when you are guilty of sin, if you want to be enabled rather than confronted, there are many universities across the land, in Missouri and elsewhere, that will give you exactly what you want, but Oklahoma Wesleyan isn't one of them. At OKWU, we teach you to be selfless rather than self-centered. We are more interested in you practicing personal forgiveness than political revenge. We want you to model interpersonal reconciliation rather than foment personal conflict. We believe the content of your character is more important than the color of your skin. We don't believe that you have been victimized every time you feel guilty, and we don't issue trigger warnings before altar calls. Oklahoma Wesleyan is not a safe place, but rather Wesleyan is not a safe place, but rather a place to learn that life isn't about you, but about others, that bad feelings you have while listening to a sermon is called guilt, that the way to address it is to repent of everything that's wrong with you rather than blame others for everything that's wrong with them. This is the place where you will quickly learn that you need to grow up. This is not a daycare. This is a university. Finally.
Yeah, well, he is in the minority.
Oh, yeah. And I do want to say about the term narcissism.
Yeah.
I find it extremely humorous when people call Donald Trump a narcissist on Facebook. It's just twists my brain.
Okay, go on.
Facebook is the definition of narcissism. Are you kidding me? Everyone's on there to be a fucking narcissist.
Yes, true.
It is the epitome of narcissism to call out Donald Trump on Facebook as a narcissist. Are you kidding me? But he's in the minority. It's the silent minority as well. Unfortunately, I mean, it's when you see. I mean, my Facebook feed is so good. The professor from California posts the Rolling Stone article about the GOP candidates being a clown car. It's a Matt Taibbi piece. It's pretty funny, but. You know, these otherwise smart people resort to name calling all the time. Clowns, idiots, morons, crazies, jackasses.
Yeah. Right. That should be left to us.
Would you please leave that to guys who are professionals at this stuff?
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda.
Late but no cigar. We have a few people to thank for show 778 as we move towards 787, and then show 800, I guess, will be coming up next year sometime. Philip Flick, it starts at the beginning of the list in Sunnyvale, California, $150. Sir Barislav Marinov in Trabuco Canyon, California, has a birthday coming up, 12369. Pullen Home Improvement, an obvious plug for Pullen Home Improvement.
Oh!
Flint, Michigan. 77.
Have you been reading the subreddit again, John?
You sent it to me. Thank you very much for wasting an hour of my time reading through that thing. I couldn't stop. Very well, it's funny.
It's fantastic.
He said he'd pay more if there were naked women. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, right.
Jennifer McCullough in Sadler, Texas, 7770. These are some of our leftover 7770 well-wishers. Ryan Martinez in Centennial, Colorado. Debashis Duta in Mason, Ohio. He's also Kilo Delta Whiskey X-Ray Zulu.
7-3s, Kilo Fox 5, Sugar Lima November.
It's actually Kilo Delta 8 Whiskey. Dittos.
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 Dittos. It's the Rush Limbaugh of ham radio.
Chris Gromall of Port Ewan, New York, 7770. Area 147 from Frankfurt, Germany came in with 7770. I've always been happy 777. Area 147 says. The fake Nigerian prince from London, UK.
Hey, I got an email from him.
$70. You did.
Didn't you?
He sent me a card.
He's got money. He's got like $1 million for us. We just have to send him 50,000.
There you go, man. Mark F. DeWitt in my favorite town, Saudi Daisy, Tennessee, $66.
They must have great T-shirts in Saudi Daisy.
Saudi Daisy.
Saudi Daisy.
Simon
Nebesnuik, I think.
Nebesnuik in London. And he gave us 2 donations of double nickels on the dime from this list.
And he wanted a de-douching something.
You've been de-douched.
Might as well.
Well, Art Stanton in Cumming, Georgia, 5510. Sir Kevin Payne in Richmond, Virginia, 5432, 5432. Rob Tyson in Rotterdam.
It's a mile high. Mile high.
Mile High Club. And he wants a de-douche. Give him a de-douche.
You've been de-douched.
Barry Coggins, 5027, and the following are all $50 donors, starting with Anonymous in Milton, Ontario, Robert Amanula in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Keith Powell in Parts Unknown, Justin Barber, not Justin Bieber, in Los Angeles, California, Kevin Johnson, KJ in Phoenix, Arizona, Shane Rozdilski in Saskatoon, Eric Miller in Norwalk, Connecticut, and finally, last but not least, Dustin Martin in Salem, Oregon. Salem, don't inhale them.
And that
concludes our short little list there.
Yeah, thank you to everyone who came in under the $50 mark for mainly reasons of anonymity, and for all of our subscribers. Check your subscription. Make sure that it's still valid. You may have to update your card or something. And we appreciate your support of the best podcast in the universe. Also, interesting new twist. There's a Kickstarter for a game called Budding Heroes. And apparently it encourages critical and independent thinking. And they created a reward on their Kickstarter for Team 33. And then if you
rightfully so.
Yes, and if you support that project, the game, Budding Heroes, if you support that and you support it with the Team 33 reward, then a portion of that goes to the show.
Well, that's good.
I like that. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, we need more portions.
We do. Hey, please remember, we have a show on Sunday. Support your favorite show.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And Jamie Graham, don't call her a him, says happy birthday to Uncle Gil of Wally World, Connecticut. David Ingram says happy birthday to Mom, Uncle Jeff. No, wait, what is all this? This is a lot. David Ingram, Mom, Uncle Jeff, Aunt Pam, Kim, Grandma, David, Carrie, Remington, and Margaret all say happy birthday to Kayla Ingram. Turns 33 tomorrow, and we say happy birthday to a big supporter of the show, Sir Barislav Marinov. Happy birthday from the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
We have Sir Trevor Baxter becoming the Baron of Antarctica with caveat.
And we had that extra night that we did. Did you make sure to write him down?
Yeah, of course.
John, yeah.
Yes, of course. Did you bring your blade?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, you did. Good. All right. John F. Bell, Jamie Graham, and Josh Reeker. Step up, please, because you have contributed to the best podcast in the universe, about $1,000 or more. I'm therefore very proud to pronounce KB, Sir Tassel, a Black Knight, Dame Jamie, and JB, Knights of the DMV. For you, gentlemen and dame, we have Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, Crickets and Cream, Black Holes and MD 2020, Cuban Cabars, Cigars and Single Malt Scotch, Raspberry Pies and Breakfast Burritos, Drams, DMT. We got Dos Equis and Dutch Dominatrix, Porn Stars and Pot, and of course we always have the Mutton and Mead. And you can find that at noagendanation.com/rings. Thank you, gentlemen and lady. Thank you very much for supporting the show. Can't do it without you. Actually, really, really can't do it without you.
Yes, it's true. It's a fact.
It is a big-ass fact. Alrighty. Let me see. There were a couple other things.
Let's see what I got.
Hillary, there were some new Hillary emails, which are kind of funny / lame.
Yeah.
There's another one that...
I must have an affair with that one guy, though.
With who?
That guy keeps cropping up in the conversation. I can't think of it. But I was actually kind of intrigued by Steve Ballmer going to the shareholders meeting at Microsoft and saying that the numbers are that the new guy Nadella was producing are bullshit.
Huh.
And he condemned them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's harsh.
This is bullshit. These numbers are bullshit. You can't do this. And they were talking about run rates and stuff that were just nonsense.
Huh.
That's not good.
I should probably just start giving you a list of stories the brain professor of Stanford University posts on Facebook.
Are they that good?
Well, it's always the commentary.
Oh. You should.
Actually, I should probably bring that up. Why don't I just bring it up and read you the responses from that, because he also comments on it, and then his wife does as well, the interior designer. It's funny. Okay, let's see.
I'm surprised they haven't unfriended you.
I think they're afraid. I think they're afraid of the onslaught. So this is the article from Vox, another fine blog. It's not just Trump, Islamophobia in America is spiraling out of control.
Yeah.
And his comment is, well, it's increasingly easy to imagine what 1930s Germany was like. That's from the professor. And then his wife chimes in and says, yeah, and unfortunately, these are the only people who seem to vote anymore, the crazies. That's one.
The crazies?
Yeah, the crazies.
The only ones who vote?
Yeah, the crazies.
How did Obama get in office?
Well, this is their reality. You know, my favorite was the posting of this survey, which has been debunked even in the comments. It was that he of his posting. The negative association between religiousness and children's altruism across the world. And this study, which is easily ripped to shreds, claims that children from non-religious households are more altruistic than religious children. And, of course, his comment is...
I believe studies that I've seen involving charity...
So exactly the opposite.
Which is something we have to study because our show is kind of it. Shows exactly the opposite.
Right. But now this
Almost all the studies show exactly
but this is a professor who deals in statistics, in data, and his comment is...
So he wanted that to be true.
Yes, he wanted it to be true.
I didn't realize he was such a bigot.
Oh, he's a huge bigot. And his quote is, "Isn't religion awesome?" And then people come in and say, come on. Then his wife, she's the interior designer. The whole reason they're back in California, in my opinion. I just got an email request from a stranger for a free paint color consultation, but it's okay because he closed with, "God bless you." Oh, wait, I'm the atheist here, so I'm supposed to be altruistic and work for free, right? Dang it. These people are insane, John.
That's great.
People are insane. This should be a whole segment.
This is why I do not become a member of Facebook. I hear enough of the nuttiness on Twitter, but they limit it to 144, 140 characters. Yeah. So I can feel that I don't have to really be hit. It's a broadside. It's like being hit with a baseball bat right in the stomach.
But we need a jingle, I think, for this.
Adam reads from Facebook.
Well, no, it should be the professor's Facebook post.
Oh, you're gonna specialize.
I think we should specialize on him because the guy he was a sought after. Stanford University got this guy. They pulled him away. Now he did it for the money wasn't enough, etc. But his wife wanted to be back in California. And he's a Texan.
She's a California girl.
Yeah, and he's an East Texan. So the poor guy. But you're seeing the corruption and
sounds like he fits right in, if you ask me.
Well, you're seeing the ruination of a very smart intellectual. into,
to just a knee jerk.
Just going down to knee, but mean.
Yeah.
Mean and bigoted.
When your line of thought is along that's kind of this modern liberal style, and you're not getting your way, you get mean.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what comment I post.
This is like I'm telling you, when I saw this with Amy Goodman and that Kibben guy from 350.org sitting there steaming. They weren't even talking about anything negative that was, denial material.
Well,
none of that.
Because
he was just steaming about his existence.
And they're the definition of bigots because they will not listen to any other's opinion. They just will not listen to it. And
it hurts. It hurts to readjust when you're in total cognitive dissonance. We'd love to talk about that. I do anyway.
Yeah.
When your brain is completely fried from a perspective that is totally political and really makes zero sense. You cannot be taken out of this because you will have to deal with the stupidity of your entire existence. You're stuck.
Exactly.
We try to keep people from getting into that stuck mode, and that's what the show does. I hope people appreciate that.
It would be a big win if we could unstuck this guy.
No, I don't think it's possible.
So he says, anyway, on this Trump article, on the GOP clown car rolls on by Matt Taibbi, a couple of comments, and I say, well, polls are bullcrap. And then he comes back and says, Adam, are you saying that Republicans don't actually support these clowns, even though the polls say they do? And then I say, no.
What has that got to do with what you said? You said polls are bullcrap.
Yeah.
So why is that the response?
His take is that the Republican, he says that the polls are reporting all these Republicans who support these clowns. And what he's asking is, does it mean that Republicans don't actually support these clowns because the polls say they do, but they're not because the polls are wrong? And remember, this is a guy who deals with statistics. And I reply, I'm saying polls funded by the same media organizations that report them are used to rig the audience into believing candidate standings. That's why Nate Silver looked like a genius when he accurately predicted Obama over Romney, which polls showed was a close race. Polling is used to entice campaigns for more money into advertising.
You're actually going into dialogue?
Which goes directly to the media companies that create the polls.
Yeah, it's one of our theses on the show.
His reply?
Oh, no.
Well, we finally agree on something politically then. Whatever that means. A professor from Stanford University. Drop out now. Drop out of Stanford.
Wow.
Yeah. I think we have.
So you actually sound like the reasonable one.
Yeah.
Like to an extreme.
This is when you know we're in trouble. When I'm the reasonable one. It's time to wake the neighbors and grab the kids.
And go to the gun store. Some weaponry.
All right, Ashton Carter. That's my last bit, unless you have something you want to slide in before then.
I got nothing.
Yeah. Ashton Carter spent about 3 hours on the Hill. Up there talking about all things ISIS, ISIL, like IS, Daesh, whatever, everybody. Yeah. And let's just see what it was really about.
We're at war.
We're at war, John. We're at war, even though it's not declared.
Well, it should be declared.
We're using the might of the finest fighting force the world has ever known.
This guy is a warmonger.
Yeah.
Tens of thousands of U.S. personnel are operating in the broader Middle East region. More on the way.
Hey!
We have some of our most advanced air and naval forces attacking ISIL. U.S. troops are advising and assisting ground operations in Syria and Iraq.
And it just went downhill from there. Just kept on going. Now, I have a question for you. It was kind of funny how this came about. Now, the president has been very clear that we have 65 nations on board
Yeah, this is in your craw.
It is, because I still can't come up with 60.
You got your list. You probably have a list. And you keep looking at it and trying to add other names. You can't do it.
It's very, very hard to come up with. The
65 nations is the same as the 99.5. A bit exaggerated.
And what's sad is that if we have 65 nations already on board, why do we have to now beg people to do something? Listen.
We have asked for the participation of special forces, of people to provide police training, people to provide ammo, military assistance. People can provide enablers. There are various ways in which countries can contribute. They don't have to necessarily be troops engaged in kinetic action.
Engaged?
There are medical facilities. There are other assets that could be deployed. There is intelligence gathering.
Blah, blah, blah.
So the guy keeps on saying, well, we need this. I think in the other clip I had, which I didn't play. Oh, yeah, here it is. No, the other clip that we didn't play, the president's actually talking about, we need people who can hand out Band-Aids. I'm not kidding. I'll find it for Sunday because it's in the middle of another clip. I know. So if everyone's all in, why is Kerry begging? Why is he begging? Everyone's begging. We need to somehow make all this happen. Tulsi Gabbard was also in this. And
they haven't shut her up yet.
Oh, and she looks great. And she's very good. She's very calm. She knows what she's talking about. She's a Iraq and Afghanistan veteran, I believe. Both. Did she not fly A-10s? Yeah, I think she did.
She was an A-10 Warthog
I think so.
pilot.
Yeah, badass mama. Badass. And she leads Ashton Carter down a path. I don't think she's actually on this clip. But another word we had to look up about the strategy.
A declaration of victory.
You've indicated that it's war. Are we winning, Mr. Secretary?
Oops, I'm sorry. Hold on. That's not the one. Sorry.
It is funny, though.
I'll get that one in a moment.
These special operators will over time.
We're going to win.
Listen.
These special operators will over time be able to conduct raids, free hostages, gather intelligence, and capture ISIL leaders. This force will also be in a position to conduct unilateral operations in Syria. That creates a virtuous cycle of better intelligence, which generates more targets, more raids, more momentum.
Okay.
Virtual or virtuous? He said both.
Well, he corrected himself and wound up saying virtuous. Virtuous. Definition. Moral, ethical, righteous, noble. Not accurate. No, moral, ethical. So he's saying that by giving our troops unilateral missions in Syria, which means without any other partner, none of the 65 are participating, I guess. It's just us. We have the unilateral force. They're going to not just kick ass, but they're going to create virtuous intelligence.
Well, he said virtual, then he said virtuous.
Let's listen again.
Intelligence. Which generates...
Oops, let me back a little bit further. He meant virtuous.
Virtuous cycle.
No, you got to back it up.
Yeah. I'm backing it up.
That creates a virtuous cycle.
Virtuous cycle. He meant to say virtuous.
He started with virtual, and then he said virtuous.
Yeah, he meant to say...
I think this is neurolinguistic stuff.
But
he wants to implant the idea of a virtual and then drop in virtuous, which has got nothing to do with anything.
But virtuous is better.
Yeah, but it's bullshit.
No, I don't think so. I think he actually is telling the truth. This will create virtuous intelligence. It will create moral, ethical, righteous, noble intelligence. Not accurate, but righteous. Do you see?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, you're trying to...
I'm not trying.
I'm going to create bull crap.
Yes.
That is cool.
That is moral, ethical, righteous.
Right, that we can use to leverage, whatever we're going to leverage. I don't know what they're up to.
The guy's full of shit.
No.
And then, of course, the real question.
A declaration of victory.
You've indicated that it's war. Are we winning, Mr. Secretary?
We will win.
Are we winning now?
We're going to win.
Wow, winning.
Yeah.
The guy dropped the
winning.
ball. The guy dropped the ball on this. He said, "Are we winning? Are we now winning?" He said, "We will win." The guy right then, the senator, I think it was a senator, should have said when. He should have said when.
Yeah, he didn't.
No,
he didn't say that.
No, he got cowed by the guy's really a nasty guy up there. He's mean.
Ashton Carter is super mean. Oh yeah,
he's a very mean spirited,
and then
total a-hole to work for.
Of course, Putin, who I didn't know that in Europe they call him Putler. Did you know that?
They call him Putler?
Putler, yeah.
Oh, that's just a reference to Hitler?
Yeah, it's Putin and Hitler's Putler.
Putler.
Yeah, look it up. It's everywhere. People calling him Putler. I didn't know this was a thing, Putler.
I didn't either till now.
Putler. So Putler had his guys go up there, and Putler said, "Hey, wait a minute."
The rift is growing between Russia and Turkey. The Russian Defense Ministry claims it has proof that Turkey is involved in the trading of oil with ISIL militants. Officials released satellite pictures alleging they show oil tankers heading along 3 roads from ISIL-held areas to Turkey. Turkey is the principal consumer of this oil, stolen from its legitimate owners, Syria and Iraq, says the Deputy Defense Minister. According to inbound data, top Turkish leaderships involved in this criminal business, including President Erdogan and his family, he says. Pro-government media in Turkey.
That's Balil, his son Balil, who's running the oil.
Yeah, no, his son is a known smuggler.
Yeah, he's running it. So they have.
Yeah, and Dad's helping.
So they have photos.
Mr. claims as impossible, saying the roads shown by Russia are controlled by Kurdish rebels and the Syrian army. The Turkish president also denied the claims. Turkey has not lost its moral values. We are not buying oil from a terrorist organization, he says. We're watching Russia's disproportionate reactions with sadness, while the whole world accepts that we're right. If Russia's reactions continue, he says, we'll be forced to take our own measures.
Oh, no, nothing. But you can't do anything. He's not going to attack Turkey. But he has put them on notice, and now he's saying, "Oh, that Turkish stream, yeah, I don't think so, probably not." And everyone's riling. They're so dumb in Europe. Do you not know you are being peopled? You are being played. Yeah. Germany should join in and should reject the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Germany's going, what? No way. 999.
And by the way, if you go to Putler and look up the images,
they must be great.
Putler images on Google or Bing, both of them. I got it on Bing actually.
This thing
fantastic.
This thing about Turkey came up in the State Department briefing.
I just want to mention since the Putler thing before we go on to the State Department.
Sure.
This has got to be the biggest insult to Russians who pretty
liberated
Europe. I mean, not to the benefit of Europe necessarily, but they're the ones who took the biggest beating from the Nazis and did the best job of pushing them back to where they belong. To be referenced in this way, it's got to be somebody dreamed this up. This is a great insult. Great insult. Anyway,
Putler.
State Department, go on.
The cute Russian girl, not the one whose name we can't remember, but the other one whose name we can't remember.
Oh, the second. Okay, her.
These images show huge convoys with what Russia says are oil trucks crossing the Turkish-Syrian border unhindered. And one of the images shows, and there are many, shows 240 trucks on the Turkish side of the border and over 40 similar trucks on the Syrian side of the border.
Now, you'll recall that we didn't blow up all of the trucks because we ran out of ammo.
Yeah, we ran out of bullets.
Bullets. And someone pinged me and wanted to have a beer with me about that. I said, well, let me tell you about the A-10. That's not the point. That should not have been an A-10 operation. That should have been a strife, blow it all out of the water operation. But no, you can't do that because you might get Erdogan a little bit pissed off.
Are you saying that it doesn't raise any red flags here?
Well, look, first of all, I'm not going to speak to the credibility of your satellite imagery.
Like she's KGB. Like saying she's KGB right there. Your satellite imagery, you over there at RT.
From this podium, certainly.
This podium.
Secondly, No, we've never said that oil smuggling from ISIL is not a problem. What I'm trying to say is that there's no Turkish government complicity in some operation to buy illegal oil from ISIL. It's just we just don't believe that to be true in any way, shape, or form. There is smuggling that takes place across that border. That's one of the reasons why we're working with Turkey to seal that border. But as to the scale of it, I don't have any estimates to give to you.
Well, one of the things is that they say is that there's no inspection of these vehicles. I mean, one would think, as my colleague David said, was that these are large trucks and then you stop them. And the fact is that what the Russians are saying is nobody, I guess the complicity would be the fact that they don't stop and inspect these things. So that's what is the U.S. been doing specifically on trying to stop the smuggling?
Letting him go?
That oil getting into the international markets.
Well, again, it's something we're working with Turkey. I'm not going to outline the steps. Secretary Kerry spoke to it earlier today, but we are actively working on ways that we can seal that border, that we can end these routes as much as they exist, where smuggling may be taking place.
And then Matt eventually comes in, and the guy just keeps saying, no, that's not true. It's just not true. It's not true. There's no oil, nothing to see here. Move along. Where, of course, this oil is going to the Chinese and to the EU.
It's going all over the place, and somehow we're condoning it, or we're behind it. We're making the money. We're behind it.
Yeah, we are behind. We're behind. Everyone's seen the videos of U.S. helicopters dropping supplies to the ISIL. Come on. The whole world knows it except us.
Yes, I think it was pointed out with only a few of the cartoons that are worldwide that were shown in the last newsletter.
Yeah.
People don't get the newsletter. You didn't see these cartoons, but they're fantastic.
And then another one that I love, if Putin wasn't a big enough conspiracy theorist to be thinking that the U.S. and Turkey are complicit in helping ISIL with their funding efforts, Russia has now, under their desirables law, has banned George Soros and his Open Society foundations from operating in Russia. Yeah, of course. But whenever you say Soros creates trouble around the world and funds color revolutions, you're called a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, the conspiracy theorist thing is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people should just reject the term.
And the Brits, of course, came out right after the vote. They immediately started bombing last night.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Want a little clip of them bombing?
Yeah, I want to hear this.
British bombers have carried out their first airstrikes against ISIL in Syria just hours after MPs voted in favour of UK action against the militants there. 4 Tornado jets took off from RAF Akrotiri in Cyprus, making a strike over Syria, according to the Ministry of Defence. High-precision, laser-guided Brimstone missiles are believed to have been...
there's the plug. Look at how our missiles are doing. We make good stuff too, yo!
...fired, although the precise targets have not been revealed. On Wednesday, lawmakers backed Prime Minister David Cameron's call to target ISIL, voting in favour by 397 to 223 after a 10-hour debate in Parliament.
We are NATO, turning sand into glass.
The result comes as a blow to the leader of Britain's main opposition party, Jeremy Corbyn, who's a pacifist and was against the bombing. A total of 66 Labour MPs sided with the government.
And of course,
how can he be a pacifist?
And, of course, all of this ultimately boils down to the money. We have two sides. We have the Republican side. We have the Democrat side. We start with the Republican. I'm ashamed to say he is from the great state of Texas. He's probably a nice guy, but he does not know jack, and he's the chair of the Homeland Security Committee. This is not okay to have this guy here, or get the No Agenda consulting group, the Curry-Dvorak consulting group, to help him out. Congressman McCall of Texas is a dick.
Chairman McCall, what lessons have we learned from the attacks in Paris?
Well, there were several. The Paris attack, it's foreign fighters.
No, it's not foreign fighters. It was not, right off the bat. No, it was not foreign fighters. They were French nationals.
Well, there were several. The Paris attack, it's foreign fighters traveling to the region, coming back. So we have 5,000 Europeans with Western passports that have traveled
to the region. Many have come back. We have hundreds of Americans, and many of them have come back to the United States.
So this just didn't count. I mean, he was read in on something, and he doesn't. Does he read a newspaper? Does he look at a blog or anything? No,
he doesn't have time. He's hitting he leaves, he goes to the bar.
This is a disservice. This is a disservice to say, well, these are people who return. No, it's not.
I do think the threat is far greater in Europe because of the numbers. There are far more foreign fighters traveling in and out of.
Now, notice they're foreign fighters now.
Europe to Iraq and Syria. My committee issued a bipartisan task force report that the Speaker and the leader now are implementing the recommendations in the legislation to help tighten up security gaps, both internationally and domestic. I think, as Adam talked about, the ease of travel. They don't check their Citizens Pass watch list.
They don't check their Citizens Pass watch lists. What is a pass watch list?
I don't know what he's talking about.
I think a lot of that's going to change in the wake of the Paris attacks.
No kidding.
And what about here in the homeland?
In the homeland. Can you say
homeland?
This one, say America, baby. Homeland.
McCall, what do we really have to do? You can't protect all these soft targets.
Well, it's very difficult, and we don't want
soft targets.
They did that when they were talking about this the event and saying, soft target, soft target.
What is a soft target?
A soft target is a soft target.
No,
it's a target that has no protection. It can be easily hit by. It's a soft target. It's not got no security.
It means unarmored, undefended targets. Soft target. Okay,
soft target. It's a soft target.
But what's a soft target then? There's security everywhere.
Everything's a soft target.
Okay.
What do we really have to do? You can't protect all these soft targets.
No, I'm not soft, baby.
Well, it's very difficult, and we don't want these foreign fighters coming into the United States from visa waiver countries. We've had in the homeland 18 plots stopped. They're ISIS related.
There was 900.
Now,
we've arrested 70 ISIS followers. We have 1,000 investigations in all 50 states. I'll tell you one thing.
900, not 1,000. He doesn't get his
we have
numbers
an appropriations bill coming up in about 2 weeks, and I think the FBI and components of Homeland Security will need an increase in funding to help combat this threat that we see right now.
More money. And Adam Schiff, the Democrat in the conversation, says kind of the same thing.
Is that the answer, Congressman Schiff?
Well, we certainly have resource challenges, but we are fortunate that we don't have
enough money.
That's correct.
Anywhere near the number of foreign fighters to track that Europe does. At the same time, I think two areas where we can really beef up our own security. One is a continuing vulnerability at our airports. So all too often when we test the TSA, they don't meet the test, and that has to.
And that was one of the things I was going to bring up if we can talk about this quickly. Shooting down of the Russian passenger jet, or not shooting down, the explosion on board that.
What happened to downing, baby? You're not using the right lexicon.
She'll pick it up.
Shooting down the explosion on board that we blame on ISIS. That is pretty incredible, and we haven't talked about that a lot.
It is incredible, and if you look at the device that ISIS claims to have used, it's no larger than the size of a soda can. That can bring down an entire plane.
And you believe that's accurate?
I believe that a device that small can bring down an aircraft, and that means we really have to tighten up our defenses. And the other area I would mention, too, is while some have put a lot of focus on the refugees, by and large the refugees have not been the problem. The real vulnerability here is people with European passports, European citizens that can travel without a visa to the United States, and we're going to have to address that issue.
And they did do something. They changed the ESTA visa waiver program to connect more databases to each other. It's really, I read through the whole legislation, and it's nothing. It's like, well, we're going to connect the databases, make them look. So they've really...
There's a date. They talk a big game about that, but every time they try it, it's like the incompatibilities between it's not just a few differences. It's not like they're all using the same, software. They're not.
No, of course not. That would be a reason to install new software for everybody. More money. More money, more money, more money.
Pootler.
Ash Carter did say something. He actually admitted something about the oil transports I forgot to play. Here we go.
Next, in the south of Syria, we're also taking advantage of opportunities to open a southern front on ISIL.
Now, this is interesting. Get your maps out. Look at Mosul, look at Raqqa, and then look at Sinjar.
By enabling fighters trained and equipped by us and other coalition partners to conduct strikes inside Syria. We're also enhancing the border control and defenses of a key ally, Jordan, with additional military assets and assistance.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
In northern Iraq, Peshmerga units, with the help of U.S. air power and advisors, have retaken the town of Sinjar, cutting the main line of communication between Raqqa and Mosul.
This is interesting because I believe Mosul is where the oil is transported from to Raqqa for refining, and then off up to Erdogan's kid there in Turkey. So now we're going to be the gatekeeper somehow in Sinjar. If you look at the map.
Toll.
Pay toll! Pay toll!
The two largest cities under ISIL's control. To move people and supplies, ISIL must now rely on back roads where we locate and destroy them.
Aha! We shall see.
All right. Enough. Another depressing show.
Oh, no. Well, then why don't I end it with...
We're all going to die.
That's true. I'll end it with that. Okay.
I think we can pick up the pace by having some funny stuff at the end.
I'm going to try that to make everybody happy who came along for the show.
Yeah. Now it's raining it's really raining.
So they were right.
Yeah, 100%. Well, there you have it.
Oh, there you go. It does happen, I guess. Someone keeps calling me.
Somebody's calling you?
Yeah, from Hartford, Connecticut.
It's a spammer.
Yeah. They won't stop.
That's a spammer.
Yeah, typical.
Should answer in a robotic voice.
I'm not. I have no time. I'm doing a show.
I take my phone off the hook.
All right.
I use a landline made out of Bakelite.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us here for the best podcast in the universe. We shall return on Sunday with another episode of Deconstruction. Anything that happens, we'll have our eyes and ears open. If you're a member of our intelligence network, get it to us and get it to us fast.
And it'll be plenty interesting.
Hell to the yes. For reals.
For reals.
Coming to you from the Crackpot Condo in downtown Austin, Tejas. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where it's now wet, I'm John C. Dvorak.
And we'll be back on Sunday right here on No Agenda.
No Agenda Show.